republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll revisit it.
All had a chance to look at the agenda. Any additions, corrections, conflicts of interest? If not, the agenda stand approved as printed. Move on to the reading of the minutes of last week's meeting.
March 24th, 2026, the Board of Supervisors met at 9 a.m. with Craig Dozark, Chair presiding. Members present were Schultz, Mulbauer, Dozark, and Rosberg. Member absent was Hayden. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. On motion, the board recognized claims for public health and approved claims for all other departments. The board approved clerk of court fees for February 2026. A motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Rosberg, to approve the agreement of purchase of maintenance gravel with 10% crushed limestone from Stratford Gravel, 700,000 ton from the Charleston pit near Lakeview.
Most people never
For
actually cook.
2027 haul for $9.31 a ton. Motion passed unanimously. Motion was made by Rosberg, seconded by Schultz, to approve the appointment of Tim Berry as zoning administrator GIS specialist. Motion was made by Rosberg, seconded by Mulbauer, to amend the previous motion and approve the appointment of Tim Berry as zoning administrator GIS specialist with a salary of $800,000 a month.
800.
Oh, sorry. Extra zeros.
Whoa, I missed
I
it.
think that one hurts
Having a Freudian slip.
bad.
$800 a month with starting date of March 27, 2026. Motion passed unanimously. The board had a discussion about the appointment of a vice chair for the safety committee. No action was taken at this time. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Mulbauer, to approve the disallow of one water impoundment tax exemption filed after the deadline. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Rosberg, seconded by Schultz, to approve the tax abatement for 1749 Highway 59 Dennison, Byron Gosler, and Rhonda Wessel Gosler, new home. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Mulbauer, to approve the tax abatement for 35150 Avenue of Vale, Robert and Monica Lally, new home. Motion passed unanimously. Motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Rosberg, to approve the Wisconsin Independent Networks renewal proposal for the city of Denison. Motion passed unanimously. On motion, duly seconded, board adjourned at 11:03. Agendas for the next meeting are posted and available at the courthouse on Friday, 4:30 p.m. preceding the next meeting.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Not, they'll stand approved as read. Thank you,
As
Terry.
long as that, you just
What's
read that wrong, Jerry.
Yeah.
The 80.
Yeah, it's written 800.
Okay.
Move on to
Yeah.
report of supervisor reports, and before, I'll just start out. I'll just add, I forgot last week with my Wesco meeting, is that they got a new chef for the bake shop, and they're gonna do some changing their hours and their menu, and they are gonna move to a breakfast type menu, and they are gonna start to be open on Sundays.
Nice.
So maybe we'll give the citizens of Crawford County a couple more choices of what they currently have for after church type of stuff.
Nice.
So just wanted to get that out there. Didn't have anything else. Got early childhood today at noon. Looking at our agenda, not sure if I'm gonna get there or not. But then a reminder of our meeting tonight at 5:30. So with that, I'll move over. And Jean, you were gone, so we'll start with you. We missed you last week.
Well, I missed you guys too. I thought about zooming in, but then the time was off and there was just so much going on. But I did sit through a DCAP meeting one morning, just kind of sat outside my hotel and got on because they needed a quorum, so I got on, as usual, but that's just kind of winding down a little bit because of the way that things are going. And so Molly, they turned over everything to another gal who's going to try to, do all these different counties together. So we had to approve giving her mileage and things like that. That was the reason they needed to get that done. But they did not have the early childhood meeting that was scheduled due to a lack of a quorum. So I will report on that next week. But last week, we had so much going on. I didn't have a chance to pass around Head Start's, all the different grants that they were getting at West Central, and I'll just pass that around. They really know how to go after grants. I'm very, very happy with the way that they run that organization down there. It's just really, and they're always looking for people to work in the Head Starts department. It seems like that's kind of a revolving door. People, it just takes a certain person that can work with children, and the wages aren't great and the benefits, but I think we have some openings in Denison again, but I'll pass this around. And then just a little bit of things that have been going on with our meeting tonight, trying to really get a good grip on any questions that might come up. I don't know if we're gonna have a full house or if we're not, but I'll pass around these other counties just to kind of show you the difference so that we can feel good about the way that we're doing our things. But other than that, it was kind of a long week, short week, fast week. It was all good. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Gene. Any questions? Or not, we'll just jump across the table.
I won't take up a lot of time. I didn't have any official scheduled meeting, but I did go to the secondary roads safety meeting they had last Wednesday.
I heard it was appreciated that you were there.
Oh,
Just so you know.
Oh, well, I was glad I went because, they're probably one of our biggest, our most exposed departments as far as safety concerns can arise, I guess. So, and the group of individuals they had there seemed to be very in tune and engaged with trying to solve safety issues or prevent them. So not prevent the safety issues, but prevent the injuries. And then I was able to talk to one of them over the weekend, and he's excited that he just wants to keep going. He said he's disappointed that this was more of just a structural type, let's get things in order type meetings. I want to get to nitty gritty stuff, start having actual safety meetings. So their biggest thing was they're going, instead of the quarterly meetings, they want to have still do their quarterly safety meetings, but then do like a quick monthly meeting. So maybe east side, west side, have once a month, have a small meeting. He said this quarterly is just too much, forget too much. Well, I'm not against that. And even a suggestion of, that newsletter thing that maybe has started our own county newsletter as far as safety county newsletter that gets printed quarterly or monthly or whatever. What each department is doing or whatever. I don't know. Just suggestions.
Wouldn't hurt.
Try to just always keep it on the forefront of everybody's thoughts and
good idea.
I don't know. But I was glad I went.
I mean, that's a great thing, I guess, because to me, those employees are out in the country working every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And they have certain circumstances that come up specifically because of their job.
Mm-hmm.
And how am I supposed to be dealing with this? What should I be doing? If I'm a grader and there's a tractor that's stopped on the side of the road, what am I supposed to do? Do I just, go around it? Is the tractor broke down? Is there somebody in it? What's my role? What should I be doing?
Yeah. They were gonna,
Stuff like that. And and you want those people to bring that up at those monthly meetings and say, okay, let's solve this. What should we all be doing?
Yep.
What's a plan that we should all be following?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point, because those things come up and then you just wait 3 months, you might forget about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Try to work on SOPs, but boy,
It's tough.
I mean, the way things work out.
Every bridge project's different.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't even know where to begin, but
Every grade project's different. All over gravel roads are different.
right. The basics of putting signs out accordingly and stuff of that, I think there definitely needs SOPs. And your general blading, I suppose, could have SOPs and, you know, a broader spectrum of the SOP that fit.
You can have a general rule,
Yeah,
general orders, so to speak.
yeah. But, yeah, I think they're well on their way to. And, you know, I know we talked last week about having the safety committee, but some of these departments, I think maybe should have, like secondary roads is going, because no disrespect to the second floor, they don't need to sit there and listen an hour about, you know, digging a ditch or anything,
Yeah,
you know. But there are things that are common, so maybe a quarterly safety meeting with the groups of each department would be better than having monthly meeting of all departments together. It's one thing I noticed. With all departments, or especially the high risk ones. I mean, I think we can identify the ones that are higher risk, and not everybody's got risk. You know. Other than that, I just not much other than that. Just phone calls about budgets and that's about it.
Okay. Dave?
Okay, on that note, I did drive a bunch of roads this weekend, and all in all, I thought, you know, we're in pretty good shape. You guys are out maintaining. You look at, what was it, 2019, when we had that
Yeah, March of 19, yeah.
horrific year where frost came out and road just went terrible. And, you know, you start to see a lot of manure haulers and anhydrous, and guys are getting moving on things, and it just, I feel like we're in pretty good shape with where they're at and what they're doing. Guys are getting done with grading, and I don't think shouldn't hear too many complaints about our roads, because.
got a couple, but I think they caught up to them quick, don't you?
Yeah, I don't think it's not widespread. It's, you
Just a
know,
couple
like I said,
spots. That's all I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're hearing more down there from Ben.
Well, and even like, just in my area, we had a road that was getting pretty rough, just ripples, and I talked to Sean about it, and he had Aaron out there the very next day and touched it up and good again.
Yeah.
So I thought they were in pretty good shape. I did go to the fair breakfast. Gene and I were there at the same time. Kyle was there right after us. Got to give the fair board props. You know, they put a lot of work into that. They have a great breakfast.
They do have a great-
It looks like they have a pretty good lineup for events for the upcoming fair.
They cover every animal and vegetable that's there when they have their breakfast.
They do
They're all
put on quite a
represented, don't they?
spread.
It's a good breakfast.
It was, yeah, a lot
So,
of variety.
kudos to them. The other thing, and Craig and I talked about this a little bit, kind of a little bit disappointed in. Watched Iowa Press, and Dan Dawson was on there talking about our property tax reforms. And some of the comments he made, I thought were inaccurate or maybe misleading. He talked about how, kind of paraphrasing, but counties have a backdoor way of raising your taxes because assessments go up, and they, even if they don't raise their levy, but it increases your taxes, and that's a problem. Well, that's the system that the state gives us to operate off of. And he really didn't have, if we talked, any details on how this is gonna work, what's it gonna involve, why we're doing it. It just, we think property tax is too high and we're gonna lower it. And it's, to me, what's the equation? What, you know, we have to have so much revenue to operate, and we have to provide so many services. And I really am just disappointed that they don't talk about the unfunded mandates and what the.
They never talk about them.
How about if valuations go down? We talk about that, if valuations go down, what happens?
No,
No, didn't
No.
mention that, huh?
Like this year.
or they don't talk about if an assessor doesn't put values on that are according to state code, that they can come in and raise everybody's assessed values across the table. I mean, that's, like I said, that is the process that they give us to work under for our budgeting.
Which is crazy, because you
But
can
yet,
sell those properties.
Instead of talking about that, they talk about counties overspend and they create new departments and this and that, and we gotta get a handle on it.
Can I ask, I mean, everybody, I'm assuming, has tried to read, use the words tried to read the Senate side and the House side, and the governor's kind of, other than she had a couple extracurriculars in there, kind of matches similar to the Senate, which they all kind of parallel each other. But as you're reading through them, I still don't see where they're addressing anything where we have our 3.5. So I'm gonna guess rural basic and rural supplemental and general basic and general supplemental. I'm gonna guess them lines disappear altogether. Has anybody seen anything in there that represents anything about that? So I'm guessing that stuff disappears. The only increase that we can get in valuations is, in my understanding, is new property. You know, I mean, whether you build on a big addition or whether there's a new structure, anything like that. So there's really your only opportunity in everything other than a 2%, which seems to be the going number that they all three was kind of leaning on. There's a little bit of flexibility. There were some talk about when we have a large cost of living increase across the year, inflation, them types of things. But I'm not hearing anything about that anymore. Just this 2% cap. So, I mean, if you look at last year, it was 2.8 cost of living. So that would be your inflationary costs and, you know, in a roundabout way. We're not even going to meet that. So how are we going to buy material? I mean, we won't even be able to find paper that we can find that's not over a 2% growth. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that are absent in this, and I don't see anybody trying to address that. I'm not sitting in their committee meetings. I mean, we've all got things to do too. But I have been talking to Lucas in the backside and asking him stuff about it. And then he asked us about 2580 this last week.
Yep,
we should bring that up. I just don't, I'm just not seeing where they're actually completely wise to it. Did you see where I asked Lucas?
Mhm.
I asked him, I said, when was the last time they had an auditor or a supervisor or an assessor in front of these committees? Now, I did bring up that Abby Moss has been doing a lot with the Senate side. Well, she's not an auditor yet. She's a supervisor at this point. So, I mean, they aren't asking the people that actually deal with this stuff, in my opinion. I mean, now Lucas, he's an old supervisor, so he's got a clue. You know, so and Andrea and Jamie seem to be pretty wise. But still, why wouldn't you bring us down there to ask, okay, how's this going to affect you? Because that's what they didn't do it on the back of the blue. We could go down the list and we could have solved a lot of the problems and headaches for them down the road if they'd brought us in and talked to us. I mean, we watch them do it at the national level constantly. There's always a committee meeting where they got somebody sitting in front of them telling them how this is going to affect things or what's going on, right? But I just don't hear about it. And we know they're not talking to us back home other than Steve. You know, and when he gets real busy down there, which during the funnels, he's swamped, you know, we don't even hear a lot from him then, you know. I'm perplexed on how they keep thinking these rules are gonna benefit us. And when I say us, I don't mean this table of five. I'm talking about us, Crawford County, Monona County, Carroll County, Shelby, Ida. I mean, I don't see how it's gonna benefit us because there's the people that live in this county are still expecting all these services to happen. We're not going to be able to make them happen. And as the years go by, we're not going to be able to we're going to make less and less of them happen. To where now, okay, these counties aren't taking care of their people. That'll be the next thing because you'll have a whole new crop of people down there. And these counties are doing a terrible job looking after our citizenry. Well, when you hamstring us, what do you expect? Now, I'm for cutting taxes. I think this board has worked its butt off. And I don't mean just this five. I mean, you look back basically through the decades. I mean, it's been a very frugal county. I mean, now, not all counties are like that, and we're taking the beating because of them. You know, I mean, there's got to be better ways to fix this than to just pass a law and say, that's it, that's all you get. Where are we going to grow? Now we're not even going to be able to help to build we're talking about a new CDC person. I've spoken with some people around here about what should we do. You know, I'm sorry, Dave, I'm seeking up your time here. Sorry, it's a disease I have. I'm sorry. But I mean, there's a cure. There's no cure for that, I promise you. But I mean, there's just we are really in, there's several things down there. It's like the board don't have anything to do, so let's pick on the counties. I don't know what's going on down there.
Well, it seems like a lot of one-off legislation. We have one instance, so now we need to create legislation that blankets everybody.
Yeah. Feel like you're in an army platoon in basic training again, don't you, Kyle? One guy screwed up, so we're all gonna take a beating for it.
But the other part of that is that they're aware, and they say it over and over, if you've seen one county, you've seen one county, but yet they make laws and rules and everything that's, the whole state's supposed, we're not all the same. It's evidence in everything we look at, that how they come upon their revenue, how their valuations, everything is different in every single county, whether they're the same population as ours or not. So I don't know how they.
To defend them, they can't have 99 different laws down there.
No.
Well, they
So,
can't.
but they can put some thought into the one that they're trying to put together.
I get that, yes, absolutely, but you can't group punish.
Well, to me, it still goes back to local elected officials are still elected by their people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when they have local control and can control their budget, if you don't like what they're doing, there's a process to re-elect somebody else.
You're right, sir.
Because it seems like if I was in Des Moines, the perfect answer is just, it's not my problem. It's not my problem. Go see your cities, go see your schools, go to your county governments. Don't like what they're doing, re-elect them. But we don't take in property tax in the state. So we believe in local control. And maybe you're a county that thinks your property taxes are fine. So why should we affect those people that say, you know what, for the amount that I pay and the services that I'm getting, I'm perfectly okay with what I pay for the service I get. If you're not happy, then you need to go to those local boards and change, have them change, or if they won't change, elect new people. Maybe elect yourself, maybe you run, if you're not happy.
If the state is
You know,
mandating what you
But
have
the
to do.
state,
You
I
can
mean,
change
Gene,
this
you
board
said it so good,
100
we're one of 99 counties.
Yeah.
And I was thinking the exact same thing. The Constitution talks about local control. The Iowa Constitution talks about that. And that's where the responsibility should lie back on,
Founders
is
talk.
us,
The
you
founders
know?
talk
But
of the
it's,
United States.
they just, when you're in politics, it seems like you just can't not stick your hands in there and get involved. You know, you just can't do that. Because what kind of a politician would I be if I said this, it's not my problem. You go figure it out with your local people, you know?
Let me ask you this. Have we ever really just thought about, maybe we've just dumped way too much onto the property tax? Maybe that's the big problem here. Maybe it isn't that we're spending poorly in any county. Maybe we've dumped too much onto property tax.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
And that goes back to Ty, all the state unfunded.
Exactly.
Maybe
Look at all
if
the
they
things.
actually covered those things that they want done and didn't put it on property tax that we subsidize, we would naturally have a lower levy because it's less services we're subsidizing through property taxes.
I mean, maybe it ain't even the people that are in the state house right now, but you think about the decades of things, well, where are we gonna pay for that? Well, we can put that on property tax. I think we should probably pay for it at the county level, because every county's need for that will be different, So throw another thing. And it looks like something small year on one year at a time. But after all these decades of throwing things at property tax, because we don't have the ability to defend ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Whatever gets thrown down at us or the cities, you're stuck with. And the same for the school boards for that matter. I mean, whatever gets thrown at us, that's it. There's no way to rebound the ball and throw it back down the other way. I mean, we're just stuck. And I think that might be something else. That's why I just keep thinking maybe some of these things that are on property tax shouldn't even be, or like schools. To me, property tax should be part of it because people that own property benefit from an educated population. But should it be the only thing that because then there's a lot of people in the county that use that system. We talk about it here in the courthouse all the time about taxing the people or paying a fee to that people that use that service pay that fee. So maybe there's another way you find for the parents, especially if you rent a house or something like that, which I rented a house for a long time until I found that perfect place for me. I was just going to rent, which I did. And that's fine. And there's a lot of people out there that do that. I talked to somebody the other day that were looking for an acreage. They said, I'm just going to keep renting until I find the right one. I said, hey, welcome to the club. But you see what I'm saying? That person might have kids going through the school system And while they do have some fees that they pay in the school, they're not paying that base fee.
But the
property
rent's gonna go up with the landowner.
Yeah, great point. That's an excellent point too.
You see your rent going up, you're like, you haven't done anything to the house forever, and my rent's going up.
Property
It's
tax
because
went
of this property tax.
So that's another great point. Thank you for bringing that up. So, I mean, but maybe there's different ways you find to pay for that. You know, we've talked, how many times we sat at this very table and talked about an excise tax?
Well, then apparently the state got a hold of that talk and said, that's a great idea. We'll collect that and give you guys just a small portion.
Once again, we don't solve any problems with it, then it gives them new spending money or whatever the case.
But to be fair though, if, you know, maybe we just don't push hard enough
Maybe we don't.
to elect those that don't see us as a part of the state of Iowa.
as part of the equation.
I mean,
They're just ignoring
you know how our minds are constantly
Blame us.
working as we're driving, or you drive a lot, so I'm never, your mind's just going constantly thinking about stuff. But I've just thought, you know, recently, I just said, you know what? They should pass a law that you can't run for the Iowa legislature or the governor if you haven't served on a local school board, city council, or, you know, locally affected government official. And,
Try getting that with you.
yeah, that's never gonna happen. But I'm just like, because the different perspective that you bring when you go there, if you've dealt in the property tax issue all the time, you're more cognizant of passing things that are unfunded mandates.
You would hope they would be.
I would agree, Gene, you would hope they would be. I'm
How
sorry.
fast they might forget.
I would
what it
agree,
was like.
how fast they might forget. But-
Well, I think that's because there's only a few of them up there and their voices get drowned out. I mean, if Rocky DeWitt couldn't fend some of this off, I mean, God rest his soul. I mean, he was a good supervisor, you know, comes from a good family background. You know, local people are important to him. If he had trouble fighting his way through this, if you're a small number up there, I mean, there's people up there that are, you know, from local government. Our governor was a treasurer, for goodness sakes. You know, I mean, there's people up there that are, but that's a great point. Do they forget? They don't have them conversations anymore? You know, that's why I said, they should never pass anything that has to do with local government. And I mean cities and us, because I said that they've never had a treasurer or a supervisor or an assessor, but they've never had a mayor there or a city councilman, to my knowledge, to testify, how is this rule gonna affect you? And they should always do that. How's it gonna affect you? And bring one up there that's got some experience, not somebody that's, you know, a new supervisor or a new auditor. We want somebody that's actually got, you know, Terry's had tons of years to sit here and struggle through all their damn changes, you know? And
Well, even, you know, they didn't bring us in when they talked about how they're gonna tax wind turbines back in the day and cap them at 30%. You know, my supervisor probably like, wait a second, in our county,
I'm pretty sure Mid-American told them how that was.
I'm pretty sure you're exactly right.
I don't even want
You know, even this severance tax, they took the idea, well, instead of bringing supervisors in, how it could help them with their budgets and alleviate property tax, well, we're gonna take it and give you a small percent. It's like,
were you in on the question about that? The hours, the stuff where I sent that up to Lucas?
yeah,
You see when I asked about who was in the negotiations when they originally did the 30% thing and their payoff, and how come the sunset happened for us, but it didn't for them? Them are the things that are really nipping at me.
Because we were excited when our sunset came up, because that was like our first year, and then they changed it to where it'd be on the production, and they said we would be losing more.
Well, I'm talking about the sunset on Mid-America's bill where it had to stay in place for 10 years. They couldn't raise your kilowatt per hour. If I understand that right, don't quote me on this 100%, but if I understand that right, Mid-America couldn't raise their cost per kilowatt hour exponentially anyway. And that's why everybody on Mid-America had this great bill, and REC go, how come theirs is so much more cost effective, you know, in town? How come that's cheaper for them? You know, and we always were hearing this because there's more people on that. Is that really the answer then? I mean, I'm trying to figure that out. And then that sunset and everybody's bill went, phew. But we're not getting any more for property tax on them turbines. And all that
That's
happened
what I
about the
was
same
talking about,
time.
Yeah,
So was that a horse trade? I'm asking. I don't know.
because we were gonna raise ours, and then we found out that we couldn't. because they've changed that, so,
There you go.
yep.
So anyway, that's another question. That's a whole new can of worms there. So anyway. But 2580, that does have to do with 2580. And since we're still kind of dealing in this deal, I think we got to make sure that we're letting Steve and Jason, excuse me, our representative and our senator, since we're in official capacity, or I'll better be a little bit less friendly. I think we need to let them know how we feel about it. And I would be willing to bet that our citizens feel the same. We made a pretty good, very beneficial to our citizens construction permitting for the wind turbines and any, and it was just wind turbines. We haven't even really done our solar field stuff or anything to them battery packs or anything to that nature, and I brought that up in one of them emails that we did, that I actually worked a lot with Martha on that when we were going through this deal about the southeast aisle, one down by Aspenwall, that field. Anyway, I thought we were pretty fair to the solar or to the wind turbine companies because all of it's negotiable, everything. There was not negotiated to it. You could always negotiate it, but it made sure that everybody affected by that wind turbine field was going to be at the table. That was our objective. At least that's what I took it from this board was our objective at the time. And so that's what we created. Now, how is that something that should be, disputed up at the state? Because that's what we that are elected by the people here wanted. That's, or at least when we'd go out and talk to them, everybody was in compliance with that. Oh, well, that's a great idea.
They actually came here to talk to us.
We got quite a bit of talk about that, correct?
But now the State House wants to
and
generalize.
and
it
if you
over
look, I was
everything
Googling this morning at these companies now that are starting to show up on Facebook, tell your senator to vote yes for this 2580, which would give the state the authority to do our setbacks and everything. And so I looked it up because here's what I dealt with at the national level. And you've all heard this story about the Coalition Against Bigger Trucks, which was funded by the railroad. Well, why would they worry about the highways, bigger trucks? Because they're protecting their profits. That's their freight that we could be taken away from them. And that's the same thing that's happening right now. So it's lobbyists that are hiding behind a new name and a different organization's name, I should say, to go ahead and get this done so that they don't have to deal with us and it don't eat into their pockets. And that's wrong. Sorry, that's wrong, because that's all it is. It's all it's about. It ain't about making anything better for anybody out here. Sure, we would get another 30% tax on a wind turbine. How about if we give you this bill, 2580 goes up to 100% on all of them. How about it? 100% of their value gets taxed. And our assessors get to determine that value, not somebody in Des Moines. I'm okay at horse trading. They wanted to horse trade last time. Let's horse trade this time. Sorry, my electric bill's going up as I speak. But you see my point.
I do.
Anyway, that's
Great point,
2580.
Brian.
Them are two things that are really should be on our agenda, and we should be smoking on some people's ears about this.
We talked about how, even if we have local people that serve the local government, how they lose track of things. I mean, you just said it, lobbyists.
Yeah.
I think Mark Segerbart told me once, if you want anything done,
He told me that too.
lobbyists.
Yeah.
That's how you get stuff done.
Yeah.
So.
And how many times have they told us
Trying to be
that?
our own lobbyists,
But
We
how many
need to
times
know
have they on the back to blue? Well, ISAC didn't say anything about it. So they're expecting our lobbyists to even.
But our lobbyists,
But we told
have the task of representing
Everybody.
more than one interest, which I get,
Right.
Do you guys have your own lobbyists?
Yes.
They have their own through ISAC. Is it through ISAC or is it through your association?
We have a couple auditors and then we've hired an outside lobbyist
Well, maybe that's
also
what
outside of
supervisors
ISAC to
need
do.
So that's a brilliant idea. My credit to you guys. And maybe that's something that we need to talk about at the board when we have our retreat. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to butt up against, but these issues that affect our table greatly, we need to have somebody that doesn't have to say they're undecided because they don't know what, one of the other.
Well, when there's
Departments.
legislation that could go either
Either
way
way.
for you gotta have somebody that's gonna stand.
Just says the voices what's happening to you,
Mhm.
you know? I don't know, maybe that's something we gotta really
How
look
much
at.
does it cost to get a lobbyist?
Well, you know, depends on how good they are. If we would hire Maggie and them, the Fitzgerald, they're probably pretty damn expensive. Iowa Pork pays a pretty penny.
You know, Ty,
They're good.
It don't help either, like, talk about when back to Blue passed. It was a 12th inning, late at night,
Yeah, they really,
pushed it through. It did not even have time to be deliberated and talked about, even give a response back.
Thinking about one thing.
Yeah, they can't even agree on the eminent domain issue.
Rains won't should drive down Des Moines. Get knockers and doors.
You know, I kind of do personally apologize because the severance tax thing, we all know it was something that I brought up.
That's a great idea.
Right.
It is a great
And,
idea.
even when I brought it up, when I was on the Doge committee and nobody had ever heard of it before. And then I was told by my, internal source that, hey, just so you know that it's now been talked about in the governor's office.
that's how Texas does it.
With four other congressmen or,
No income tax?
people down in Des Moines. And, since then it kind of built up. So it's kind of absurd that a, supervisor brings up the idea and then, yeah, we don't get to use it the way that I thought it should be used, that each county could decide what we want to charge for severance taxes.
Right, it should go back to the
To help
county directly.
offset
To help
property tax.
offset property tax. Yeah.
You take 5 cents of it.
I mean, if you're in
Right.
Madison County,
Said
you don't
they're
want
gonna
that stuff,
determine.
you set that high.
5
See,
cents.
Madison County's got tourism. They can do their own tax because they can do the hotel motel taxes and probably make more money off of something like
Or
that.
if they want, they could set that severance tax so high that they're like, we ain't
We
gonna go there.
Right, we're not gonna go to that county.
Exactly.
But
Great
if
point.
there's a Adams, a Crawford, a Monona that don't have a lot of business, well, we'll set that low lower, try to track some stuff in here. But
Just like they do
We're
it.
gonna play with our rules though, setbacks and stuff, but our severance tax gonna be down here.
Every little bit helps.
And say, no, that's a great idea.
We'll we want that money.
Great idea.
But anyhow,
Anything else, Dave?
No, I'm done.
Ty, well, we'll officially move over to you.
Thank you. Don't know if wasn't in a meditation not too long ago, we were talking about people that like to dominate the conversation, and I don't like to, I just have a lot to say. I really like to hear what you guys have to say too. Anyway, Central Iowa Juvenile Detention, I had my meeting. They're just about done with the 2080. Just gotta go to all of them for signatures. I was already in here talking about it and as soon as they're done, then we'll get it to Colin. And then I'll be able to talk in better detail. I just did it to them too. I took 45 minutes out of the meeting. They were talking about charging a fee to re-enter the Central Iowa Juvenile Detention. And the fee would be based on your population. So like we're 16,500, at the last census, we were 16,550-ish, okay? I just thought, and then there's 8 counties that didn't get excommunicated or whatever you want to call it, that are in there that wouldn't have to pay this reentry fee, that didn't pay anything. The original counties had to invest to create Central Iowa Juvenile Detention. And so to pay something now to kind of help offset what they did initially, it didn't sound like the worst thing to me. And 16,000, if we actually used it, I mean, our member bed day is $150, not $1.50. Terry's giving too many zeros and I'm taking them away. 150, non-member, $250. So if Nate needed to send somebody over there because we didn't have room up here at the S Center or something like that, I mean, we'd pay that 16,000 off pretty quick if it was one of them forever stayers.
One-time fee or annual?
No, it'll be initial one-time fee to enter. It won't be annual. But then there's those 8 in there that didn't pay anything. They wouldn't have to pay anything. And right away, the ones that are sitting there making the decision say, well, it isn't always fair. I said, well, it isn't always fair if you don't ensure that it is. And then Ann spoke up. I was telling you about her. She is sharp as a knife. And she said, well, that would cost Dubuque $100,000, Dubuque County. And now that really looks unfair if you look at it from their perspective. And she said, I don't know that you'd get us to come back. And I said at the 16.5, I didn't know how you guys would respond to that. And I said, I'm not gonna tell you with what we're dealing with property taxes, they're not gonna jump up and down and say, hey, we'll pay that. I said, well, probably not. I said, I don't know. Well, anyway,
Based
then
on
that,
our usage up there, it'd be hard. to
for our
support.
usage, it'd be really hard. And that's what I said, Cal, you're right.
We
And-
don't use it.
We don't use them very much at all,
Very rare.
very rarely.
250.
I mean, just, you could, and in here, in the reports, you can see how many bed days we use. Terry wrote them a check for a long time now. And, I mean, it's nice to have, because Nate said he'd like to have it in there. So if it isn't costing us, or even if we had a one-time fee that's palatable, okay, I get it. It's helping to catch up what Tony was basically neglecting. Tony's out of there now. Still having some issues back and forth with him. He's contesting a few things, but it's nothing I'm too worried about, to be honest with you. But we got a good crew in there right now, I think, working it, and the supervisors like Thode, you know, Bob, Thode and Latifa and Kyle Stecker and Scott, Boone County. Can't think of Scott's last name, cowboy hat, black cowboy hat.
Longhorn.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it sounds close. You're getting there. Anyway, there's some great supervisors that are really, they got a little extra time, so they're really digging in that over there. And they're actually on our new committees that we've formed, watching over the different areas over there and doing a really good job. So I think that there's nobody's hiding anything from them. That commission's like 37 of us, if we were all there. I mean, they're right now, it's not that big, you know. I think most of us are zooming in that aren't part of it.
So what would this money
Oh,
go
yeah.
to?
You just gave me that.
Yeah,
What would this money go to? I mean, they're not.
it'll pay off. Well, it'll pay off. It'll pay to fix some of the stuff that wasn't getting taken care of. I mean, they had a washing machine that was in the original building. You know, stuff like that that's not, you know, breaking down, just different things that weren't getting taken care of. Basically some maintenance stuff, updates on some equipment, like I was bringing up, kitchen stuff that's old. You know, they do all their own meals and stuff like that to help the cost. Different things like that is what needs to be updated and gone through. Bob, actually, I think Bob and maybe McVicker were actually the ones on Gary, you'll probably know him. You know, but anyway.
I guess I'd rather see them just, I mean, take a survey of all the other detention centers. I mean, I know the S Center is updating all that stuff, but they're not going around asking all the counties for more money so they can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe they just need to look at maybe up in their bed rate.
Yeah.
To
At
generate
least
a little
short
more
term
income.
until they get everything paid
For
for.
the people that are actually using it.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I get it. I'm not arguing any of
Yeah.
that. I'm just telling you what they're proposing right
that's
now.
why I asked, where's that money
And I-
going to? Is it-
I ate up 45 minutes of a meeting they thought was gonna go quick, and I had to check out at noon because I had another meeting. They were just about 1/3 of the way through the agenda, so I felt bad, but I didn't really, because it was something that needed to be talked about, quite obviously.
Absolutely.
Because I just started the conversation. I
The
didn't.
main thing is that Nate just wants this as a tool in his toolbox. That's the
Yeah.
only, otherwise we wouldn't, if Nate would say, you know what, we don't need it, we wouldn't even sign the
Probably.
2080, we just
I would,
walk away.
yeah.
But if he just needs it for in his toolbox on that rare occasion, wouldn't the $250 for that one time
That might be better.
balance out a little bit better than having paid 68,000?
That makes more sense. Gene, might be on to something.
Well, didn't they do that
You
in
know
the
what
past?
the
when
number rate
you
is
could
at the S Center?
be an affiliate member?
$250.
That's your member rate?
Yeah.
See, 'cause for a bed day, 250?
Yeah, we don't get a big, we don't get a lot of money from the state either, so.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get a little bit more
Yeah.
for all of us. But
So maybe that's, be better off, just saying, you know what, we don't wanna be a part of this, and
Yeah.
just, if we have to send, it's still available.
Yeah, it is. It's still a tool in his toolbox for that.
As long as they have a space. If they're full, then we wouldn't be able to get it.
And then if they, and like, Yes Center, don't kick out members, they don't over there either.
Right.
It's the, like Polk County and all them that get kicked back out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, I don't really wanna make Nate's decision unless he's sitting here telling us why.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
rather he
yeah.
tell us why.
Just some conversation, not,
Right.
That's just my theory on it. I mean, I'm either way. It saves me from a long drive to meetings. we don't do it, you know what I mean? I spend as much time driving to the meetings as I do having the meeting, and it is a
So
long
do
meeting.
they allow, I guess, preferential treatment to members, non-members?
Well, sure, you get you get a.
You just get a
guaranteed
lower,
bed.
lower rate,
and
but
you get the
you get
150.
guaranteed, you get guaranteed beds?
So they'd kick somebody out that was in there from Polk County if
Yeah.
you needed a bed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
if
it's
there's a
got
non-member in there and you
Yeah.
need a spot,
Yeah.
the non-members get booted out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it works.
We just like picking up.
Oh, it was easy.
Well, it's easy to pick up. And they don't come to anything, so they don't know what we're picking on. So anyway, I mean, I didn't get to go through all this stuff. I mean, they're really, I wasn't there for half the meeting, because my second meeting started already. But I can let you guys look through this. It shows the bed days that everybody's using, the different stuff that we see across the state, at least through. Well, probably because Central Iowa's got a bigger population they can hold. You can see a better cross section from across the state of what our juveniles are up to. So I mean, I'll let you guys take a peek at that again. But otherwise, this is the 28E as it's currently being constructed, but you can take a peek at that if you want. I mean, I don't.
That's the current one, there's gonna be a new one. with some
Yeah,
changed
it's
wording.
not, this isn't done. I mean, obviously, we had some discussions. You're sure welcome to look at it if you'd like. Okay. But that's really all I got of importance. We already discussed everything else I wanted to bring up. So thanks for that.
I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
I haven't finished either.
Ben, we'll move on to you. What do you got for us today?
Go. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, this morning I did reach out to Norris Asphalt, see if I could get a bit of a time frame on what their schedule is looking at. I wasn't able to speak with the gentleman that's gonna be able to give me an answer on that, but I anticipate him getting back with me in the next day or two. Want to get an idea now on, I'm sure they have some idea what they're looking at coming. They are, within a relative accuracy of what we can expect of when they start. We want to get word out to area businesses, emergency services, just kind of give some heads up of when that is. That way they can plan accordingly. Residents, get word out to residents along there that are going to be affected. We just always try to give the folks good heads up before a project starts. That way they can make preparations. So hopefully hear back from them real soon and know a little bit more. But as of right now, I haven't gotten any word back there, so still don't know a start date. But
You'd think we were on their calendar somewhere.
well, we are.
I know, yeah.
And I'm sure they know by now kind of what they're anticipating, at least to some degree.
Just a bunch.
So, yeah, I'm not asking for an exact date, just, sooner or later. So, but they'll get back to us.
You picked them up.
They are starting to work on E Avenue now. They got about a day and a half here before the rain starts, and they'll probably get a little bit sprinkled out possibly, but they are gonna get a start, finally starting to get some grading going on. And so that is where they're at. Bridge crew, they're down on L51, doing a little bit of relaying some pipe sections along off L51 before the construction begins down there. Got a couple that we want to look at, possibly putting a liner in, but nothing that's gonna, needs to be done before the project, but might want to address that at some point before it becomes a problem with new pavement over top of it. So,
Well, use the liners you shoved through, or are we gonna experiment with the new ones that kind of like we do with the sewer lines here, that kind of just.
these would be ones that we pull through, and I know we haven't done a whole lot of them, but we've done maybe one or two in the past. I didn't have a whole lot of them, but it's nothing that we feel comfortable doing. There are companies that will come out and put a liner in.
I'm curious, 'cause I'd like to see them other ones in action, so that would help install some of the other ones.
That UV liner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an option. It's a pricier option, but it's an option. And these are a little bit bigger pipe, a 36 inch, maybe
What-
48.
What's pricier? You said that the one I brought up before. What's pricier? I mean, just the material cost? I mean, if we don't have to do all the dirt work and stuff, is that still pricier?
It's pretty much about the same price as the pipe itself. So you basically put the brand new pipe inside of the pipe.
And did you talk to them about like that extension? Because you were talking about how we should make some of them a little bit.
I haven't talked to the company that subsurface,
The ones that are from the park or something.
I haven't talked to them since I talked to you about that, as far as the ability to extend. I'm
That
sure
might
they
add some
can,
of the cheapness, you know,
but,
it might cheapen it up. If on the ones you need to really get that wider, if that works.
I could see that on a smaller pipe, 4 foot or smaller, on some of these real large diameter pipes. I can't anticipate that being a possibility, but I want to certainly visit one, on some of these larger diameter, I'm sure we're looking at just trying to shore up the head walls and just trying to keep the bank from sloping off, as opposed to extending the pipe. There's things we can do, narrow up the road where, some of the roads that we're right now, we get the road shaped up to where they're shaped, and, have a little bit more, less steep grade on 4 slopes, little things like that to try and help get the water shedding off the road before it gets down to the culvert and causing a slump off, so little things, but yeah, extending some of the large diameter multi-plates, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. Sure, visit one, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. That's gotta fit that bill.
Certainly, they can show you something where they've done something like that, and this is 5, 10 years old. Look at it. Talk to that other engineer. What do you think? That money. That would be the thing to check on. But if it don't work, it don't work.
And it is a pricier product, but on the pipe underneath the highway, as opposed to turning up on highway, it makes that price very reasonable.
Well, that's what
Not tearing up their work, replacing the pavement, then it's merit. But even at that, some of your smaller pipes, I would imagine 5 foot or smaller is gonna be more reasonable. Probably ought to be more of a project.
Let me ask you this too then, like when we have to take out a big box culvert versus doing like a project like that, once the culvert's really broke up bad and stuff, this is probably a good idea, but if we get that before it starts raining, we'll get cracks and stuff like that, where down the road, that could be a big problem if we don't do something now. I mean, the cost of replacing that whole thing and then the time that road is out of service. If that would actually expedite it, plus all the other stuff, and you don't actually have to close the entire roadway for the time they're working on it. I mean, that might be a benefit.
Some of these box culverts, like you mentioned, I've seen it where they put a round pipe inside a box culvert, backfill inside of it and try to not have to tear out the box culvert. Putting a tube through it, you have to look at the hydraulics, whether that's gonna be able to handle it, but yeah, that's an option, yeah.
I mean, that's just when we were listening to them, I just like, gosh, dang it, that might solve some of our problems.
It looked easy.
Yeah, it doesn't look easy.
Yeah, that's probably the first resolution. That's why we should have our first resolution. That's why we lean on you guys and your expertise, we just see that, hey, that might be an answer to what you were already telling us that was concerned coming up. Anyway.
Yeah.
We've all picked up the literature, thinking you'd just be so excited about it.
Oh,
We're solving part of Ben's problems there.
I definitely want to see one go in. I think it's a neat product. I can't wait to find the right scenario for it, to tell you honestly.
Cool to watch one go in, I do agree.
Roadside crew, they are gonna, Berdine's gonna start this week, kind of get things ready, but they'll anticipate coming in next week, start getting some seeding done, start on areas where they didn't get to last year, and then keep seeding, and then they'll start mowing up and doing some spraying probably in the May timeframe there, so but they will be getting started. The other item there, the motion to approve the portion of I know there's a public hearing coming up, so I'll probably talk a whole lot on that, but yes, the reclassification of that roadway. Program and budget. I have submitted that over the weekend to the DOT. so that it is in their possession for them to review. Make sure I have all my T's crossed and I's dotted, and they'll review that. If they got any changes or see any issues with what I submitted, they'll get back to me. Eventually, they'll get that back to me, and it ultimately goes for board approval. And that's the construction projects I've kind of handed out to you the past couple of weeks there, kind of showing you what our contract projects are kind of shaping up to look like. None of that can't be changed, but that's as kind of as it sits, what we're looking at doing. And our local projects, I handed out project maps prior to that, just showing some of the local projects, local bridges that we want to do, some of which will be on the construction program. Some are just maintenance, but.
So Ben, in the previous years, did you always help Paul with the DOT budget, or was this your first time kind of doing it on your own, or?
This is the first time doing
it, but I mean, did you used to help Paul with it? Did he have you participate in it, or?
He pulled me in once in a while, give me a pointer here and say something when you're doing this, you want to know this, and then, but unless you're really, you're knee deep in it, it's hard to grasp them until you're really working it. And the DOT budget is really just a carbon copy of the auditor's budget that we did here, just to change the same numbers.
Take the figures and move them into their columns.
Right. Makes it really easy. We're not trying to handle a separate DOT budget versus what we.
Right.
Not reinventing the wheel.
Pardon?
Not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
Just makes you wonder why the DOT, they have to have it like on their paperwork, so to speak. That you can't just submit them your local budget that we approve, submit it to DOT, and then they go, okay, thank you.
Well, a lot of the funds, like for the FM projects, the bridge projects, go through the DOT, and they got kind of do their bookkeeping as well. So that's a large part of it.
All right.
They're looking at 99 budgets and trying to figure out where their stuff is.
Right. And that's why they want our program, what bridges are on the construction program, what contract projects, because it'll all go through them, a lot of those projects. So. But yeah, it's been submitted. When that gets bounced back, it'll come to the board for approval. So, but John Reed Road Bridge, some movement there. The 75% plans have been approved by the railroad. Working towards 100%. Actually, it is in good time. Really, I'm pleased with how that's proceeding. Now that's 75, working towards 100% plans for what the railroad's interested, just within their right of way. They're still working on our plans to everything, all the shaping outside of the railroad right of way for this project. They're still getting that to 75% plans. Really, our consultants concentrating just getting the railroads approval of what's in there, so then we can put that behind us and finish up plans on the rest of it, but make sure they're okay with the structure that we're doing.
You said 75%?
Right.
So they just approve certain aspects of what we submitted to them until they approve the whole thing, or
they like you to submit 30% plans, so they see the concept, they agree with it, and they'll say, yes, we approve that. And then when you get to 75%, quite a bit more detail. Now they're really seeing what we're doing, how we're relocating utilities. They'll want to kind of approve it in stages.
So we submitted 100% of the program. We've submitted to them 100%. They've just approved 75%, or we just submitted 75%.
Submitted our 75% plans. We're not 100% done with the plans, but we got to a point where we're about 75% complete.
And we're still looking at 2027.
That's the hope. That's the goal. We have JCG Land Services contract to acquire the right of ways for there. I could see we got a new fence there that is within what we need for. So might have they're going to acquire the right of way for the permanent easement and temporary construction easement for that project. For us, that a little more rules in an urban area that they're going to be more up on. When we do a bridge out on a gravel road, we'll do that a lot ourselves. The property valuations a little different here with the commercial industry and the nearby. railroad, want to make sure the land service company is providing that service. So
What's you guys estimate that, how long do you think it'll take to do this bridge? You think they can get it done in one season?
I certainly hope so.
You're a bridge guy, what's your guess?
It's all gonna depend on the railroad and how smooth it works with them. That's gonna be the big thing. It always will be.
Yeah. That's just if we have to wait until January 27th to basically put that out for bid. I mean, then they gotta have their time to get everything established, and you get started late in the season, like right now. On a year like this, they should have already been tearing that sucker out. You know what I mean? It should probably be out already. Anyway, I'm just curious.
I
I
feel it's possible in a construction season, they get started early enough, get that taken out. And, like I said, there's gonna be days, that they might not get a thing done. Yeah, with trains coming through, everybody off the tracks, it's gonna be a struggle, but,
South Main and the road that comes over from the truck wash is gonna be swamped for,
So Ben and Ty, as it being 10 o'clock, we do have a scheduled public hearing.
sorry.
No problem. I'll make a motion to open that public hearing.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the public hearing. Further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're now in a public hearing. Any written objections? Terry, did anybody get?
No.
Anybody?
I don't know if there's anybody outside.
Yeah.
If there's anybody out there.
Kurt, is that why you're here? Oh, okay.
There's somebody sitting.
it sounds like a lot of people out there.
Yeah, they're waiting to come
They're here
in.
for our next thing.
Nobody for the public hearing, it's
Okay.
the kids for the.
Abuse.
Oh, okay.
Thing, that's who we're here.
There you go.
Public health's trying to keep it quiet.
Anybody from the public that's out there in Zoom land that'd like to speak concerning the reclassification of 230th Street between H and G Avenue? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public
That
hearing.
motion to come back out of closed session.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The
Motion-
resolution.
Not to
Oh, I'm
close.
sorry.
Motion carries. We're now out of public
Very
hearing.
good.
I'll now entertain a motion to approve that related reclassification of 230th Street between H and G Avenue from level B to a level A. Motion by Gene. Second by Kyle. Any further discussion? Now we'll have roll call by resolution. Gene.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Dave.
Aye.
Ty.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Anything else, Ben?
This is the resolution. No, that's really all I have. Got Kurt here. Sit in when you.
We have the documentation for the kids here next, and then we'll be on the.
Thank you, guys.
And then the monsters.
Yep.
Here comes the little windmills.
All right, pinwheels.
Pinwheels, yeah, there you
This will be up here.
Let them sit down.
This will be up here.
go. Go get my phone on it here so they ain't calling anybody while it's open.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys.
Come on in.
Take a
Who
chair.
wants to be a supervisor today?
Whoever sits there has to run the meeting.
Hi, where's our gavel?
You sat there.
Oh, where's the big one? I don't know.
Is it in the drawer?
I can look. Terry did it for me, so I know.
You're welcome.
Someone getting married?
Well, I guess as the board of supervisors, we'd like to welcome you all here today. And I guess I'll turn it over to, you guys have a spokesperson or?
We're gonna take turns. We have a couple of them. All right, Natalie, go ahead and get us started.
Whereas children are our most vulnerable members and our most valuable resources, helping to shape the future of Crawford County, and
whereas positive childhood experiences such as loving caregivers and safe, stable, and nurturing relationships play a vital role in helping children thrive by mitigating trauma and negative impacts of adverse childhood experiences, and
whereas children who live in families with access to timely economic, social, and community-based supports are less likely to experience abuse and neglect, and
whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, can have long-term physiological, emotional, and physical effects throughout an individual's lifetime and impact future generations. And
whereas prevention is possible because of the partnerships created between Crawford County Child Abuse Prevention Council, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families, and whereas we acknowledge that in order to solve the public health issues of abuse and neglect, we must work together to change hearts and minds of centers, to make the families, break down barriers and barriers, and inspire us to partners in prevention. And whereas we recognize that investments in prevention initiatives such as home visiting programs, family strengthening policies, support, and community-based children, child abuse prevention efforts are essential to building safer, foster communities for children.
whereas we are committed to advancing equitable, responsive, and effective systems that ensure all children and families are healthy and thriving. And
Now, therefore, I, Craig Dozark, and the Crawford County Board of Supervisors do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Crawford County, and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to improving the quality of life for all children and families. Together, we can create a community where every child can grow up healthy and safe with hope for their future. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Everybody that sat in the chair has to run for supervisor.
All right, we're gonna take a quick picture, so make sure you're looking this way, okay?
Let me get out of the way.
Okay, please stand right here by you guys.
Do we stay sitting?
Okay, good. That's it.
Yeah, you want to get the picture.
Don't call OSHA.
Close your eyes.
All right, everybody up here, hands down. Ready? Go, 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 go. All right. I'm sure we got it.
All right.
On behalf of Crawford County Community Health and the Crawford County Prevent Child Abuse Council, we would like to thank the Board of Supervisors for participating in this every year. This is our 19th year.
Wow.
So next year we'll have to do a big shindig. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
you want to take those rolls, Craig?
Did you get a picture for the paper?
Terry wants an actual motion from us.
Oh, okay.
So moved.
Motion by Dave, second by Ty. Any further discussion? Questions? Questions have been called. All those in favor say aye. Chair votes aye, motion carries. Yeah, anybody wants some candy, grab that.
How about you grab the bag? And then you can stand over there and hand
Everybody can walk past you.
Put it away.
Get a tootsie roll. Good job. Everybody.
It's for you. Come lay up out here, please. Don't worry.
When you guys go to school on 20th?
Where's Reggie?
Fifth grade.
Middle school next year.
Happy Halloween.
Still on there. Better chocolate.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Boys, you guys ready?
You're gonna have to peel them out of their hands.
That's right. Oh, they can.
It's all good.
Hard birthday.
Did someone grab that? Was that on someone's desk?
What's that?
The rest of the proclamation?
Whose candy is this?
Oh, okay.
Greg, is this your
We
candy?
had one for you to, you want me to stamp the back of that?
Sure.
Just give it back.
It was in the book, or in the
Oh, it was,
packet,
okay.
and I took it out when I saw that I had to read something. I'm like, I better keep that up in front of me.
I didn't know I was gonna get a pen.
That's pretty good.
I thought that was the only reason you came.
Yeah, we collect them.
I take mine home.
Some of them get taken home and some of them get stuck in the flower pots.
Thanks, Kurt, for sticking around.
You're welcome. The trinkets we keep at the end. You ever notice the fork? It's just.
So guys, we'll just move on. Next item on the agenda is the machinery. I just named it machinery valuations insurance, but I mean, that's why Kurt is here, is we've all seen, it's probably been, what, 6 weeks ago?
Probably has been that long, yeah.
That Kurt sent out that the insurance company is kind of changing how they do things as far as replacement value of the machine, is they're kind of going off I guess replacement value versus what the actual value of the machine is, what it would cost to replace that machine, even though it might be old, with a new one. And so I'll just let Kurt go into,
Yeah, and if I
he's our
can-
insurance guy, so we'll be able to ask him questions.
I will add that ICAP, when they did this, had not done this, had not looked at entities for a while, and they said it was time. They had losses that came about where there was some discrepancy over what the county or the city thought they were gonna get versus what they received at the time of the loss. So they said it's a good time to go out and do an independent evaluation. And now keep in mind, equipment over $100,000 is what they looked at, okay? And when we looked at it, and they put in the letter, if we want to get everything back up to replacement cost, it's gonna cost you, the county, Crawford County, $11,404, I think it was. Practice that number. So anyway, at that time, you're like, whoa, you know? And also keep in mind a conversation we had that every board, you know, as you guys change, every entity looks at this differently, you know? Furthermore, secondary roads, these big motor graders, tractors, things like that, are they the ones that are gonna be
hurt on the road, or is it unfortunately the smaller vehicle that might get hurt should there be an accident? Now, I think I brought up vandalism, a fire, those kinds of things could be total losses. I don't know if a tornado would pick up a maintainer as an example and cause damage, but and yeah, and you look at the history, I don't think we've had any of these items claims, you know?
Since like 2009 or something,
Yeah.
hasn't been a fire, but.
So you guys kind of pushed back and said, do we really want to do 11,400 on an already budget that, you know, might be a pair? So Ben looked at some things. So I'm just back for discussion. At this point, I'm an order taker, but I represent you. So if you have questions or concerns prior to those ones that we had, what would you like to do?
I guess what would be nice to know is if last year we would have paid this $11,404 increase in premium, based on our claims, would have we got that back?
I believe no, and that's a very good question. You know, where I stand, you know, as you re-quote a commercial risk or try to write a new risk, the insurance company wants to see 3 to 5 years loss run. So 1 year maybe isn't as good of a look back. Craig, I would say that 3 to 5, and I still don't think on the items we're talking about. But I'm not here to talk you in or out of it.
Right.
You know, and you certainly can pick those items that you wanna say, I'll pay that extra premium.
Oh, we don't just have to say everything over 100,000.
Either
We
or
can
is
pick and
not,
choose.
yeah.
Okay,
I don't wanna go into
Right.
too much of that before renewal.
So then I'll turn it over to Ben and just say, if you could pick and choose, would there be anyone that you would think you'd want to make sure you had that on, or that we should be looking at to have that on?
I think the bigger concern for me is the liability. Should we get into, like, when we're on the road and there's an accident, not so much the valuation of the equipment. I mean, the valuations I'm looking at here, I'm sure are, like, the 2025 value is probably the valuation that we purchased it for. There's a 2015 cat motor grader here, 298,000. I'm sure that's what we paid for it. Now, the replacement value of that is yes, now 463, but I guess I see this as, it would take one hell of an event to do enough damage to enough equipment to, and I'm not sure what the deductibles are, but
Currently
but
700.
on that note, it wasn't too long after Kurt was here last time.
Gonna talk about
I
that
think
too.
within a week's time,
That's the next item.
another county here had an unfortunate incident where they had a shed burned down, took out 5 of their 8 dump trucks, tandem axle trucks.
5,000.
Yeah. And a highly undervalued, you know, they're insured not for a replacement, full on replacement. I'm sure they're only insured for what the value was, which, and being older trucks, I didn't get a whole lot. I'm not sure how that worked out for them.
I mean,
It's rare
a truck's not
event
even
like
on here, right?
That would really
A truck,
merit.
I don't know.
A gravel truck
You're
wouldn't even-
talking about.
gravel truck wouldn't make this list because it's under 100,000.
Oh, it should be
Is that
over.
right, or is it probably over?
There might be a few on there. I mean, you got 2 pages here. I didn't. Got a lot of Caterpillars, you got a lot of motor.
Right, I was just scanning it very quickly and I didn't
They
see
come
one.
under a different insurance, Kurt, of trucks, but are they still under this?
I don't see it. And if you're on the vehicle list, then this is other equipment, inland marine that leaves the building to do work, you know, so they're your bigger items. So that the vehicles themselves will be on the automobile.
Right. So the trucks-
And those are paid on AC, actual cash value. If you think about everything out there has wear and tear, your roof does, your vehicles do. It's no different than these things. The better column might be to look at is, what would you get paid currently if you didn't up them? And can you live with that? To replace something, which when I look at it, there's not too many that are too far off. I think there was 2 on here that are, you know, $1,000 worth of premium because they were over $100,000. But could you live with 300 versus 400, knowing that it's a 6 to 8 year old piece of equipment that you've used.
Right.
You know, I think that's the better way.
Mhm.
I would look at it. but-
Ben, how many years have you been here? I mean, not as assistant. When did you start?
Full-time, I've been here since 2019, so.
Since 29, so in 7 years, have you, the type of machine like are on these 2 pages, have you seen where there has been an insurance claim that you're aware of, or that has any one of these ever been totaled where we needed to replace it with the insurance money?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I'd say one of the bigger instances we had was, this is just this last year on the highway, where we did the repairs ourselves. That a dozer had a transmission issue, that's, I don't believe that's an insurance claim, it's.
Ty?
I think fire or something like Kurt had brought up earlier is gonna be a major thing for any of these pieces. I mean, there's a lot of iron in these. And here's how I kind of evaluate my trucks, and I'm gonna guess you guys do it for tractors and stuff as well. If you look at what we would get, and we would get this value unless we went with the full replacement, correct?
Correct. So one to maybe look at is 8 down or so, a 2014 Caterpillar 140 grader, okay, with
see
the
it.
plow. So that one stands out. They want it out of that 11,000 on 2 pages. They want 1,010 just for that one to go from 252,000 to darn near double, 463. So it's a 2014. Ben, can you handle, if that was a total loss, to go out and find on the internet or get one that would get you by for 252,000?
Here's the point I was gonna bring up. All right, you have generally your year or 1 or 2 a year that you rotate.
Right.
All right, you could bump one of these up. Just say the one he brought up wasn't due to rotate next year, but got in a wreck this year. All right, we were gonna rotate it. That price right there is already more than we're gonna get for trade-in value, correct? Not a lot more, but more. So you just bump that one up in the cycle and it gets traded that year in a sense. And that's basically the difference between that and the new price is what we're paying. And so it's more palatable. Is everybody tracking where I'm going? That's how I work my trailers and on my equipment. If I just had one not that long ago on its side in the ditch and they totaled it, you know? And so that's kind of how that worked in the rotation for replacement. So you see what I'm going to? I think that would be a lot more palatable for the county budget to look at things in that regard, as opposed to always trying to replace something of new value and what did you say, $11,000 extra a year to get that?
Yeah.
And that's per equipment, per piece?
That's total.
Even in total, it's a sizable chunk that we may never use, because in Ben's life, we haven't used, and I'll bet you can call Paul and he'll tell you the same thing in 25 years he was there. I mean, we've had some bumps and bruises, but most of the time it gets fixed in our shop.
I don't personally in 15 years remember a claim on this equipment that we're talking about of any significance.
Yeah.
The minute I say that,
I know.
you know, I'm like, again, I'm an organization, I'm providing.
I think the only one I would remember is when the Buck Grove ship burnt down.
Burnt
There was a
down.
brand new motor grader sitting there.
Oh.
But then it would get a lot higher value.
That would have been a lot higher value.
Right.
Because it was a new grader.
And that's, I forget which one of you brought it up last time. You know, okay, 4 down, there's a 2022, or there's 2 of them. It's like the same unit, 2 of them.
Right, it's 2.
Yeah, 397,
2,300.
3 years, 4 years older, 3,000. So on that top end, they maintain their value quite well. It's when they start getting those older
Yeah.
ones.
The older ones, and then we go into Ty's scenario,
Yeah.
they're in the rotation.
Mhm.
I kind of like that thought
Yeah.
process.
And I can basically said in their letter, we are doing this as a service, bringing it to your attention. If there are some that have fallen under your current policy says it's replacement cost, but we're identifying this group of things that are not that. So you have a choice. Do you want to buy back up or total replacement, or are you okay? It's forced
And
us
is this
all
something
to
that
take away.
you can change every year? You can
Yeah.
not do it this year, but you can do it next
Yeah.
year? I mean, so a different board could say, you know what, we feel,
This is
because,
for
you know, one
the
aspect, you
upcoming
might go, you know what, for $11,000, we're certainly, that's not much in our total budget to ensure that if something would happen, you know, we don't go to the taxpayers for an added 200 grand to replace the vehicle because we didn't spend the 11.
And that would be that opposite.
Right, I mean, because in my mind, sometimes I guess I'm going, it's 11 a year, and so in 7 years, it's 77,000. We've got a difference now that we can use to offset if something would happen towards that replacement cost, because we haven't paid for that insurance.
But I do have a question on, the deductible, you said it was 750. Is there much savings? You know, a lot of those farmers are going up to $5,000 and $10,000 deductibles if we don't have very many claims to start with.
So that's part two.
That's next on the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting
Yeah, but
ahead.
good question, and that always has to be looked at. And in the last 5 years, insurance companies with their property losses out there have said, you as the individual are gonna have more skin in the game and we're gonna raise your deductible.
Right.
You're gonna see here, at least from where I sit, that ICAP doesn't necessarily give you such a great reduction on higher deductibles. It's something Craig asked me to look at, and we did, and that's number 2 on this.
The other thing that just kind of sticks out to me, you know, we got great alls listed at 308,000. Those great alls, they're not worth nothing.
We couldn't get 60,000 out of the pair if we tried to sell.
We'll sell you one for $25.
Yeah, it's not something that's gonna get.
Put 'em away.
Yeah, so I think that definitely, I would like to see we go through this list and take some of those that have, like Ty was talking. I don't see paying that extra, but some of those, that, it's a no-brainer to pay the $11 and get full replacement cost out of them.
So Terry knows this renewal process like no other, and she knows that we renew July 1, and there's a lot of moving parts here. I'd like to recommend that you consider doing whatever you want to do, the full 11, and then once we get renewal, I can get with the underwriter and give Ben more time. And if there's 3 or 4 of these, we want to change value. Do you agree, Carrie?
Yeah,
I
probably.
mean, we got a lot.
It's hard enough to get our invoice and stuff
Okay.
before the end of June.
So, but again, Ben, if you want to continue to look at some of them based on this conversation, you can identify a few that you guys decide. We can work through this.
So is the board's wish to have, I guess, direct Ben to go through the list and pick the ones he would want to have the HCA value on, or do we just want to say, you know what, the 2025 value for every piece of machinery that's on here is fine, we're just gonna skip it and not pay it?
I think what Kurt's saying is either pass the HCA value or the 2025 value and then go through
And then
it.
the whole time he can be looking and
And
identifying.
then we can tweak it after we do that.
Right.
I think we can get by with the 2025 value every year.
That'd be the motion, and then if there's a couple items he wants to add, we can do that before July 1st.
Mhm.
I agree.
Based on the ones that are $100,000 or one of them's double.
Let's just stay with that 2025 value, and then we can still go in and take off like the grade alls or whatever.
Take them off.
Clean it up or whatever. Yeah, do something different with them.
I think I agree with that.
Okay. So the motion is to move forward with the 2025 value,
Correct.
right? That was your motion. Motion was made by Kyle, I think second by Gene.
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
I think every citizen in this county is probably taking a hard look at their insurance and,
Oh, everybody in the country,
you know,
anybody responsible for that.
right, so I think we as the eyes and ears of our taxpayers should be doing the same with the money they entrust us to, so.
Any other thoughts? Now we'll roll call. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Move on to Kurt's gonna stay here and we're gonna go talk about insurance deductibles. And I sent that out to everybody, the email that Kurt sent to me. Take it away, Kurt, I guess.
So we'll start with the property. Property is two things. It's your buildings, it's your business personal property or things inside of your buildings. And in this case, it is your large equipment for the county that goes and does work, okay? Currently, you have a $2,500 property deductible. With the exception, and this has been forever, you probably won't see this too many places, but it is, and it, in your case, if there would have been a loss to the equipment we just talked about, you would have only paid a $750 deductible. Very low, okay? $2,500 on this $1.9 million replacement cost value, almost $2 million building, you would only pay a $2,500 property deductible. Homes, as an example, have minimum 2,500, some, quite a few, up to 5,000, and any home that's over $1 million, you're talking 10,000. You currently have a $2,500 deductible on this bill. All your buildings that are listed in all locations, okay? So it is low, but you're gonna see ICAP's property rates are comparatively very low. But they also take into the fact that your buildings are spread out around the county, your different county sheds, your different parks. So the likelihood of one event taking out everything are low. And that shows on the loss history if we did take that 5-year, right? So,
I mean, to me, it's kind of standard on property that is kind of a 1% of your valuation is kind of what your deductible is. You know,
not really State
if you got a
Farm.
500,000, it's $5 grand. You know, you said $1 million.
Oh, okay, that way, yeah.
Yeah.
And I brought personal lines into it. Coming back to the commercial world and your situation with all your buildings. The 2,500 is low, but look at what, if you go to a 5,000, you saved 2,359, so about 2,500. Takes one loss. And no, you're not gaining. But it's. I know Terry, you and I talked about this. It was time to look at that, and we didn't take a close enough look. I feel like we are now at your request, Craig. Just say $2,300 to go from a 2,500 to a 5. Like I said, it should take one loss and you're even. But again, I'm an order taker here. I'm presenting, you decide what you want to do, right? So you go to 10,000 and you save $3,800. One loss, once again, you would have paid 2,500. Now you're going to pay 10. But you save $3,800.
You're going backwards.
See, and again, then you can go to 25 and say 11,000. You're rolling the dice a little bit. We're not going to get a tornado, a hailstorm, those kinds of things.
What if we had a motor grader parked in our old wooden shed down here and a bulldozer and that got hit by lightning and burnt the whole works down? All that's covered under this?
Yeah, but on you'd only pay a $750 deductible.
And it would
motor grader.
it regroup?
So you go up to 25 all property. There again, you lose twice, in my opinion.
So the motor graders inside will be under the $750 deductible, as well as the building and the bulldozer?
Now, the building is still your property.
2,500.
It's still 25.
Yeah.
But it's $750 deductible and then it's replaced at full value?
2025 value.
2025 value. Yeah. Gotta remember value is based out. Okay, I get you.
For another 11,404, you'd be at the replacement, right? But we made that decision. That can be changed annually, if. Yep.
I just wondered since it was different.
With that kind of figures, I don't see why we'd want to mess with that deductible.
It doesn't seem to be
I
doing
didn't know if there was
It don't make
a
sense.
loophole for us, that tends.
Because I can't make it make sense right now.
It should, no. But blow up, good one.
And then the next one is your automobile, your vehicle list. Okay, so you roughly have 92 units. Of those, 20 are trailers and 13 are police sheriff vehicles. Here's another unique one that I found, or I've known this for a while, I didn't know the history of it. But on the sheriff's vehicles, we have a 200 comp and 350 collision deductible. But everything else, the other 67 on the vehicle policy, 500 comp and 1,000 collision. Kim remembers when that changed, that at that time, the supervisors might have done a loss history look, and they said that 4 or 5 of these are losses were from the sheriff department. Can you get a lower deductible? And I kept saying, sure, so you've gotten paid a little more in premium over the years to have that lower deductible.
What is our average? I mean, they obviously do picks and different things out there in the public. Where they're
I
gonna
don't know what that average is, but when you drive by Team Ford, you'll see more squad cars sitting down there than you'll see secondary road vehicles.
Well, yeah, that's my.
Chases, driving at night, hitting animals, things like that.
Yeah.
High-speed chases.
I could see moving, there again, I don't know what that would change, but.
Well, it says there-
13 to 500 and 1,000, and moving the other ones up to 1,000, 1,500 or something.
I mean, in the second column, when it says to change all autos with, to 5, I thought the way I took that at first was 500 comprehensive, 1,000 collision. That would mean changing those sheriff's vehicles to that.
Which there are 13 of them.
13 of them, that saves 930. Yeah, but that doesn't seem like it's worth it.
There again, math ain't math.
Right.
And then going to 2,500 for all 92 units to save $2,400. Once again, one accident, you're
On 92 vehicles.
would be my recommendation.
And one deer gets in the way of a squad car out of that, you're.
ICAP's allowing you to have pretty low
Bad
vehicles at a reasonable.
Our claim history must be pretty low, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and see, that's, once again,
That's a safe count.
very safe. So,
I mean, that's the thing with insurance. I mean, insurance is just, you never know. It's to deal with the things that you don't know. I mean, I tell people in my line of work, I just say, you tell me the day that you're going to die and I'll design it. So everything comes out perfect. There will not be a problem. Everything will be perfect. Just tell me the day you're dying. I'll figure it out.
Bring your crystal ball.
Nobody knows that. So, I mean, it seems like, right, it just doesn't save the cost savings for going to higher deductible. Seems like it's not there. Is that kind of what
No,
it seems like?
You would think it'd be.
if it was like cutting our premium in half, it'd be worth it. But it's saving us a minute amount. on
Right.
Such a large scale of vehicles that don't.
I think we might regret it.
We're not choosing to do this for the rest.
And
of
once
the-
again, this is annual. You can change this every year.
Yeah.
We can relook at it. Maybe ICAP takes a different stance and gives you a better discount
right.
if we're going higher.
I'm gonna say, if we got a great discount on the deal.
Right.
Then it's
Yeah.
a good discount, never mind great, a good discount, but this is minimal.
So we'll just stay where we're at, right?
I agree.
Is that where we want to be? We don't need a motion to stay where we're at.
One
We'll just
patrol
stay where
car,
we're at.
get it, I mean,
Good to
they're
look at.
full if they're in a chase or something.
No, I appreciate Kurt bringing this to our attention, because I think this is something that, as a board, we need to look at, certainly to see if it's cost effective. I mean, we're pinched from a budget standpoint, so anything that we can save, we can, but there's, I think, practicality that goes along with it too. We need to be practical when we look at these things. It's not just, hey, this is gonna save us money immediately, we're gonna do it. Well, there's,
The long run's gonna.
Right.
cost us money.
yeah.
One accident.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine with that.
Any other questions for Kurt while we got him here? Good time to take advantage.
Thanks for all the help.
Happy Easter.
Happy
Thank
Easter.
you. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you, sir.
See Kurt.
If I have questions, I'll call you.
The,
Move on to Zach, I see is here. He's got an EMA update. Thank you, Van, for sticking around.
my treat.
Morning.
Morning.
So, been talking to Ty about more transparency, obviously, and just bringing forward to you guys what the emergency management agency's been doing over the last few months. Moving forward, what I would like to do is I'd like to come up here after our commission meeting quarterly and then provide you guys with the same update that I provided the commission with. So like for the month of March, a large share of the month was spent on working on plans, ESFs, RSFs, community outreach.
Explain your acronyms there.
I'll get there.
What those mean?
So ESF is an emergency support function. So it essentially lists out what who the stakeholders are for specific individual types of like, for example, ESF 4 is firefighting. So it lists all the fire departments and how they do their jobs and what their responsibilities are for disasters and events of that nature. RSFs are recovery support functions. So then after the disaster occurs, this is how we're going to recover, how the county's going to recover, how the cities are going to recover, so on and so forth. Been working on city plans, so city comprehensive emergency plans. So obviously the county has one, but we're taking that one step further and going to each individual city and creating a county or a city comprehensive emergency plan for them as well too. So I've got, I think 3 of them done. I still have a few more to go.
So what did they, excuse me, did they have anything in place?
Some did, some didn't.
Okay.
So a lot of them went just based off the county plan, which is fine and dandy, but at the same time, those cities need to understand that they need to be able to function at least 72 hours after a disaster actually happens before we can start deploying county resources, federal resources, state resources, and stuff like that. So that kind of lists out how that process actually moves forward. Starting to work on joint emergency action plans for like events throughout the year. So obviously Barbecue Fest is going to be a big one. We've got a big celebration in Manila that we're going to put an action plan together for. Hot summer nights, the fairs, so on and so forth. So anything that has a large group of people gathering, it's always best practice to have some sort of emergency action plan in place. So that way when something happens, we can just follow a plan and not have to wing it, I guess.
The fair, anybody ever drew up a plan on what to do if a tornado comes through from the fair? I remember being down at the Pork Expo one year and the tornado sirens went off and there was a couple British fellows there. We were standing there looking at Smithfield's race car that year and nobody's getting all worked up yet. You know, the black clouds are looming in from the northwest and they looked over at me and they said, should we be doing something? You see what I'm saying? And I told them, I said, well, you're good for now, but if you see all these people start running, keep up. It needs to be a better plan than that, to my point.
So we did one last year with the fair board. That was, I think, to my knowledge, that was the first time that they've had one. So just taking proactive steps to make sure that everybody's protected when there's a large gathering. Training and coordination was a big part of March. I went over to Des Moines and attended a G272 or a warning coordination class for 2 days to help get better resources for emergency communications. So like when we're putting out press releases or we're putting out watches or warnings or any type of other public information, this kind of gave me tips and tricks as well as other resources to put those out where the public can understand it a little bit better. On the 21st, we had a Union Pacific Railroad training. They came up with a trailer with some props of tank cars that are from the rail. And then we went through a railroading 101 course. That was probably an hour and a half. And then we did some hands-on exercises after that too. So that was a good half-day training for the departments. There were 19 people there, so better than last year's 6. So we're slowly.
From what departments?
Manila was there, Vale.
Oh, okay. All fire
West Side,
departments.
yeah, yep.
Was your entirety of your hazmat team there though?
Over half of them were. Yep. So others had dance and recitals. And
So did you have to initiate that with the railroad, or did the railroad initiate that with you?
No, we initiate that every year.
Kind of figured that
Yep.
the railroad isn't voluntarily coming out
No.
saying, hey, we'd like you to do this.
No, and
I'm glad you reach out and do that. That's great.
we're working on an
That's
annual
great.
training program with them, so they'll come back year over year and in
Are they
October.
hard to work with or are they?
No,
No?
they're super easy to work
Okay.
with. Union Pacific is.
Okay.
You know,
They're
the
very
Burlington
accommodating.
Northern or Canadian, they're a little bit trickier to get a hold of sometimes.
They've literally got a training school you can go to. Is it New Mexico or Colorado?
New Mexico, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you think the information you get from different railroads would be that different? Or,
Probably, yeah.
yeah,
And the biggest concern, I guess, would be for Union Pacific, obviously, so then that's why we
right,
partner with them a
right.
little bit closer than
Makes
anybody
sense.
else. So,
Okay.
but in October, our hazmat techs are gonna go down to Council Bluffs. They're bringing in a big rail car and doing a big training for hazmat technicians down there in Council Bluffs. So they'll be participating in that down there.
He's one call away from a manifest of any train that would have a problem in Crawford County. He just makes a call.
Yep.
And they'll tell him everything that's on that train.
Yep.
So he can alert his hazmat techs.
Yep.
Yeah, the railroads are very accommodating. They want us to do good. Saves them liability.
Right? It's insane the amount of rail cars that go through not just Denison, but through the entire US in a year span. It's crazy.
I mean, I think when I gave you that information when you were first hired about that, what was it the 4 county or how many counties have to turn in that?
So the multi-jurisdictional.
Yeah.
So that,
But I think in there, I think I read like every day, there's like, I think it was 13,507 vehicles cross railroad tracks in Crawford County.
Yep.
And when you first read it, you're like, you're kidding me.
a lot of information in there.
Right.
We're working on that update
Okay.
this year. Our plan expired in 25, September 10th of 25. But we're working with Region 12 to get that updated. Their person that's doing the updates on maternity leave, so we're just kind of in a standstill for now until she comes back. So on the on the 14th, we did a grain bin training, kind of a train the trainer with PRI. A lot of departments were a part of that. That was some very good training. So now those that went through that train the trainer will start bringing in other members from the departments, and even I can see surrounding counties coming in and utilizing this opportunity. So that was a big project completed. So hats off to the Fire Association for that. Did the EMS conference, set up a table out there, just kind of did more public relations outreach type of stuff. We conducted our first hazmat team meeting, so we established a lot of like pricing and stuff like that for if the hazmat team's deployed for reimbursement costs and stuff like that. Working on the SOPs for the hazmat team as well. Attended the Region 12 Open Meetings log class, so that was a good hours worth of education for when we hold our meetings for the commission. And then Terry and myself, the sheriff, and Amy, as well as Ryan, went up to an election security tabletop exercise in Storm Lake, which was fantastic. I probably had more fun than anybody else there because that's more forte, I guess.
You had to really.
That's right.
Yeah.
Public outreach and preparedness efforts also continued during Severe Weather Awareness Week, which was last week. So we put out a social media campaign for each individual day, Monday through Friday. And then we participated in a statewide tornado drill on the 10th, on Wednesday at 10. Then I also went Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week to Unity Ridge and gave a little 10-15 minute presentation to preschoolers about Severe Weather Awareness Week. So talked to them, they were fantastic. Tyler Weather came with me to talk about flood mitigation and stuff like that, which he's the flood control officer for the city of Denison. So March also included some response and support activity. We had a hazmat spill involving hog manure down by Manila. We had a grass fire that same day. And then I responded to Manila for an agency assist. Also continued to work on our hazmat trailer, SOPs for hazmat, and then continued coordination with different agencies, different stakeholders throughout the county and the region. So looking ahead, obviously going into April, we're going to be gearing up for severe weather season. We're going to be doing more planning, coordination, and readiness activities, especially social media campaigns. We're going to continue on the joint emergency action plans for events this year, as well as those ESFs, RSFs. city plans, and then other plans that need to be wrote that are non-existent right now. So we continuing work with the city of Denison to update that lease with the building down there at the training grounds. Request for quotes will be sent out actually today. Commission gave approval to do that in January. Gonna continue to work on increasing the presence of the safety and security councils as far as plans and other things that need to be conducted through them. I got a grant, a $2,000 grant from PEP, which is something that public health goes through. And we're gonna purchase what's called Community Connect through a software company that the commission purchased for that we utilize for asset tracking, trainings, so on and so forth. So what Community Connect is, anybody can essentially register themselves on Community Connect, and they can provide information such as this person relies on home oxygen, this person relies on so on and so forth. So when we actually have a disaster, we can pull that up, and it's only available to emergency personnel. We can pull that up and we can kind of focus our tactics on getting those people taken care of first that have those needs, those special needs. So if we're without power, we can go pull the people that need home oxygen and bring them to an emergency shelter. So it'll be kind of a cool piece of software, I guess. And then it sounds like that PEP's going to continue to pay for at least half of that software moving forward. So that's a $1,000 grant that we'll continuously get every year. The EMPG grant, which helps offset my cost for my salary, is still delayed at the federal level. It sounds like the Senate passed the bill for that.
The DHS side of things.
Yeah. The Senate passed a funding bill, but then the House rejected it. So the funding for 25 and then 26 is still kind of held up in the federal system. So we're continuing doing the paperwork for all of that that's required, the quarterly updates, I guess. I'm going to continue to work with Raycom to update the microwaves on the courthouse, fire tower, and Slushwick towers. This will result in all microwave links being the same manufacturer, model, and then will allow the ring or the loop to work at its fullest capabilities. This has been budgeted in the fiscal year 27 budget. Approval will be sent to Raycom and we'll begin work as soon as possible. And then invoicing will come after July 1 to match the fiscal year 27 budget. And then another priority will be helping local fire departments improve inventory, equipment, asset, and apparatus management, so that we can kind of standardize how resources are tracked and documented to support readiness, any type of compliance that they need for grants, as well as ISO reviews.
So Zach, I certainly appreciate the weekly emails that you send out, the monthly updates, but now you're wanting to come here quarterly. And just going over your list, I guess I would just say thank you that you have done. Crawford County is far safer and more prepared today than we ever have been in the history of Crawford County. And we still got ways to go, I know, from talking with Zach. But I just want to thank you with where we've gone since you've come on board. I think you've done tremendous. And just like I said, going through that list, it seems like so many things are like, I would have never thought of it. I'm not an emergency person, but I don't think it's been thought of until you came and made it an issue to focus on those things.
And that's just March.
Thank you. Right. Thank you.
I'd like to just point out, emergency management is one of the things that you either don't hear about it because it really isn't doing much, or you don't hear about it because it's doing really good. And that's kind of your objective. You know what I mean? When everybody's clicking, and I mean, his main job is actually, leadership role. It ain't running anybody's department, but it's organizing to get the the fire, the EMS, the hospital, public health, us, and secondary roads. It's creating the organization, and it's his leadership. And it's something that I actually want on the future for him is leadership training on ways to handle different personalities and things the Army would put me through when I was a young sergeant. And I think will be asset to him on how to work. And basically his job as a leader is negotiate with other leaders So, I mean, that would help enhance his skill set, you know, which would even make us more efficient as a county. You know, I always use my one favorite go-to is if that flight 29 or whatever, the 129, whatever it was that landed in Sioux City, there was talk, and they asked him if he thought he could land in Denison, it would be closer. I mean, we got the bigger grass strip now, that he might have said, okay, let's land. Well, look at the mess that it was for all them fire departments there. Think about what if that would have happened here with absolutely no upper level coordination or no training ever done to organize all the EMS, all the fire, all, you know, and then with other counties. I mean, he didn't even talk about all the time he spends talking to the EMAs from Woodbury and our surrounding counties, you know, Shelby and all of them. I mean, there's a lot goes on with these guys that he didn't even bring up because he was only talking about March. I mean, like our hazmat team, Kyle remembers when I went through training to be a hazmat tech, farmland literally paid for all of us then. Well, farmland ain't been there for a while. So we really haven't had a full-blown hazmat team for just Crawford County since, and we've used them multiple times since when did you organize? When was your first training?
Oh, well, we organized them in December. But then we utilized, it could have been deployed at least 3 times last year.
I mean, I've had a lot of people ask, why did we go to full-time? Why are we doing this? Why? And I had people that would call me to say, we need to do this, and if you get that done. I mean, them were the ones that I really wanted to hear from and see what their opinion on what we needed to have. It was all things that Zach brought up at his interview. We had to ask him, he brought it up. So, I mean, I think we got the right fit for our county. Somebody's passionate about where he lives. So I think you see right here on what he's all getting done. This was a long time coming. I mean, and I'm not trying to take away anything from Greg. I mean, we hired him to be part-time, and I think he gave us pretty good results for part-time. But obviously, this is a department that needed. I mean, you don't need a huge department. You just need to have 1 or 2 really, really capable people, and I think we got a good fortune of having that. You know, it's like our new IT guy. We got one that's really sharp. We got our new assessor. Look at him. I mean, he's really worked well with the entire court. So we're doing a good job, at least finding the right people, I think. So, anyway, that's off my soapbox.
Any questions for Zach? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
So next item, I guess, are you sticking around for that too?
I got them right here.
Okay, all right, EMS task force.
Pass around. So I'm here on behalf of the task force. This is their nominations essentially for the EMS Advisory Council, or MSAC. So the task force would like to nominate the following EMS representatives: Corey Gaskell from Manila, and then Joe Gordon from Dow City. And then the task force respectfully nominates the following public representatives: Corey Snowgren and Corey Schmack. And then we put it on there to nominate Ty as the board member for the MSAC, and then they nominated to put me on there as a non-voting advisor to the MSAC. So I know you guys were wanting a list of individuals, so we met Thursday after the final public hearing, and they gave me these recommendations, and now I am presenting them to you on their behalf.
I thought we wanted someone from the hospital to be on here because they're gonna
bringing their
their
Yep,
role.
yep, yep.
Okay.
They're
very
bringing
good.
So this is just from.
And
Okay.
actually,
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
I think that
We'll bring
the two for the public was this board, and I was gonna stay out of it because I'm already on here. You know, and if you're nominating me to be the chair for the board, you guys come up with 2 from the public.
So how many people altogether are we?
There'll be 6 on there, and then me, if that's our choice. So.
Altogether?
Yeah.
2, 4, 6.
Yeah, they put on here
They
more
put
than
the public.
I think they.
I thought each side was nominating 2 public people.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no,
to make it 4, and then the board would decide.
I'm not saying we can't consider those names. so-
Nope,
So-
you good people you guys can consider.
Okay.
I just don't want it to, if I was part of this public helping nominate, it could be like we're stacking the deck where there's 3 people. You see what I'm saying?
Forget it.
So that's why I'm trying to stay out of it.
So just to clarify, so everybody's on the same boat. Board or same thought process is that you guys are submitting 2 people to be on the board is with Corey, Joe, and Ty would be on there, and Ty would be the chair of the board. You're submitting Corey Snowgren and Corey Schmadtke to be part of the thought of who are the 2 public people going to be. Here's 2 we want you to pick from these people. We'll bring 2, add them to the list. Hospital could bring 2, and of that 6 people, 2 people will be picked.
Correct.
Okay,
That was
Okay.
our understanding.
okay.
That's great clarification. Appreciate that.
Yep.
All right,
I wanted to make sure I understood also.
all right.
Okay.
And then we talked
And then what's, yeah, 2 supervisors will put in 2 public people into that list of these current 2 public people.
and then 2 from the hospital.
And 2 from the hospital can put into the public. And of that list of 6 people, we'll pick 2. What's the non-voting advisor? What does that mean, I guess?
So as far as, especially like from the disaster preparedness, what an EMS system should look like for disaster readiness, for not only the paid service, but volunteer services as well too.
So you'll attend every meeting.
Yep.
And then if they have questions about, hey, I guess logistically, does this make sense?
Yep.
You would be the one there to say, hey,
Kind of help research stuff. And
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Gotcha,
Non-voting, just what do you need me to look at?
resident expert,
gotcha.
paramedic / EMA / fireman /
Okay. Right. I forget sometimes that you are a paramedic. I forget about that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's,
I
okay.
mean, we got paramedics on there, Corey,
Right.
or Is Corey just the EMT?
Both of them are EMTs.
Okay, I thought Corey was paramedic or something.
Trying to convince.
So I guess what does the board want to do with this list? Just wait till we get list submitted from the hospital, the 2 people submitted from us,
Yeah, we have.
and then we'll move forward.
I was hoping they'd bring more than 2, that way,
We
then
can't take
whatever,
action.
we'll work with what we have. So.
When we like to have the EMS board first meeting? I guess what's kind of the timetable? Do you?
I mean, obviously, the sooner the better.
Right.
So I think, depending on when the hospital would like to.
Hold their, John or Aaron.
So I guess Ty, if you're gonna be the chairperson of this, did you want to reach out to those other people and say, hey, we're looking for names, turn your names in?
Well, the only left to talk to is either John or Aaron about
Right.
the hospital side. And
Then we as the board have to.
Yeah.
2 names.
come up with the 2 for the
All right.
public.
All right,
And I
Okay.
think somebody like
We're
that.
starting. I mean, that was the
not part of
reason to
the
get them
hospital.
3 readings approved,
Yep.
so we could start down this road.
step 1.
Maybe we can have it on the agenda
Thanks.
next week.
Thanks
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, I guess, Ty, do we want to put it on the agenda, you think, next week?
See if the
Again,
hospital
the
gets
EMS
theirs,
task force, or just wait to see if you get, by Friday, if you get any, if they think they can have some names
I
submitted by
bet they can.
next
John tried
Tuesday?
to call me yesterday, but I was in the dentist office.
Yeah.
In the chair,
Yep.
actually.
I'll reach out to John or Aaron or both.
Okay. I mean, if they've got a list and you can just reach out to Terry and tell them to put it on the agenda then next week. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Zach. Next on the agenda, tax abatement, 2815 Highway 59, Jason Rasmussen, new home. Where is that exactly? Where's he doing that?
Right on,
The south of town.
59,
59 South?
yeah,
On
it's
the
got the
west
on
side.
there.
Down by.
Oh, okay, that's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, down, where,
Looks like it's gonna be a nice little bit, nice
Right.
little place, kind of hid from the north wind.
This, all has the sheet.
The daughter
Phone
around.
number.
who is Jason Rasmussen? Didn't see?
Rasmussen Lumber
Rasmussen Lumber.
Here down.
from Manning. He lives up here.
Is he a brother to the one that runs the Dennison Rasmussen?
He
Lumber?
owns it.
They're, I mean, or is that the same guy? Am
Same
I,
guy.
same guy? Okay.
He,
What if he gets a discount on his lumber?
I would guess he gets it wholesale.
Who used to live there? The name just short of me.
I can't remember. Isn't that the pond where the?
Um,
that
Drown in that pond, yes.
It's a nice little location.
Was
It's all
it,
cleaned up sweet.
Was it
Looks
Shields?
good.
Yes, John Shields.
I can get the last name, but you can get the first name usually.
Yeah.
Hey, we are up to the tax.
Yeah, that is.
That's you guys' neighborhood. You're supposed to know your neighbors.
I can get the last name and I would have got the first one if you would have jumped on it.
Single guy, haven't seen that.
Yeah, I
Cuban,
don't think so
right?
either. Maybe it was good.
Cuban?
Is that something that's contagious? out
That's
there?
who worked, he worked for me.
Oh, he worked for Doc.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good friends with my brother Kevin. That's.
Oh, that was the,
No,
oh,
Joe Shields.
Josh, yeah.
Check that water supply. Going on something.
Hey,
Morning.
Greetings, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Paul, we're on the item in our agenda for tax abatement for 2815 Highway 59, Jason Rasmussen.
Yes, sir. We have state application in hand and it's, just have a building permit, ready for approval by the board.
What do they estimate the value of that?
$400,000.
400,000.
It's got his, all of his lumber at cost.
I make a motion to approve that.
I'll
Second.
say-
Okay, go ahead.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Simple one. Sorry to have to make you walk up them stairs.
Good exercise. Since we're on tax abatements, one of the things I've seen is we're finishing up values for 2026. There's a couple of abatement applications that we got in our folder that have got some age to them. And I think that as you guys are looking to update the regulations moving forward, that you might put a caveat in there that after a certain number of years that the owners must reapply for the application, the abatement application. I think there should be a window, a sunset window on those.
Okay.
Just,
Folder here and make some more notes on it. That's a good point.
Yeah, 'cause
Are them all your notes?
Well, Dave put some on there.
There's a lot of, look like Gene had a hold of that.
So there we go.
I had nothing to add. Once it got up here.
What's that?
good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Paul.
That's good. I mean, I know people that have had building permits pulled for 20-some years and haven't started construction yet, so.
Updating that would be.
So we'll move on to the All Rise Conference and opioid funds reimbursement. And that was in our board packet. I
That's the
believe,
old
if I remember correctly.
Nashville.
Nashville. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, it says it. Nashville.
Okay, so after I was before the board last, I reached out to the 3 proposed professionals. I've got interest from 2 and half interest from the 3rd. Because these are not funded through their agency, they are unable to carry $2,000 just hanging over themselves through July. The auditor's office have rules that they can't process reimbursements until after the training has been attended. So if there is a requirement for them to front and then float that $2,000, we're not going to get anybody to go. So there is a potential 2-part workaround to this. So our office has forfeiture funds and collections funds. These are separate from our regular budget. Forfeiture, we have to get those approved through the Attorney General's office. Collections, we don't have to get approval through the Attorney General's office, but it's for that same expenditure purposes of improving law enforcement, community interactions, things of that nature. So what I would propose is that for their lodging and airfare, that they are able to submit their claims to our collections budget. And then we would then, after they've attended the conference, we would then submit those to the board for reimbursement from the opioid funds. As far as the conference registration itself, Terry had pointed out that they can ask for that to be invoiced. I think that's something they should definitely try. I don't know ultimately that it'll work, since typically if you're going to invoice a conference, they want your agency on the hook for that. But again, our collections funds and spending limits are such that we could assist them in carrying that, because like I said, if we're not able to help them on this front side, they're not going.
So who's going?
So Casey Schulte was the first one to reach out, and he does a lot of work with our Denison high schoolers. He's also a substance use certified, I can't think of, is it CAC? He has the additional certification to provide substance use
Who
treatment.
does he work for?
He was with Plains and now he is with a different agency, but his contract is that he is in person at the school. He sees other clients too, but yes.
So is there a reason, I guess, that the school doesn't pay for it, or?
So he's not a school employee.
Right? I mean, he's not a county employee either.
Correct.
He works with your office a lot though, or?
Oh, very much so. He is one of our main therapists that our juvenile treatment court uses.
But you will get reimbursed from him?
Oh, yes.
Because after the training's complete, he can get funds from his organization? Is that right?
No, so he
Funds
would.
from our opioid
funds.
money.
Yes,
We have
so
opioid.
he would book his ticket, book his lodging,
But Terry
submit
can't
those.
use that monies until he's already home.
Correct, they can't reimburse, so we don't want to jam up the auditor's office.
So that's your work.
Actually, the location of the funds are, I believe, irrelevant, but. So I'll get signatures from this board to be able to do it, because it's a risk. If they don't end up going for some reason, if there is a reason, I don't know what it would be. Life happens, life, you know.
For sure, yes.
And it's not, I mean, we don't prepay for rock and leave it sitting at a quarry somewhere, hoping that our pile is safe.
We would go after them for.
Do we need some kind of
think we need to
agreement,
have some-
MOU? I mean, you know, do we
I
need
guess
something
We would need some
with
sort of
these
agreement
folks
drawn up,
that
something they would
says
sign.
that they'll be on the hook if
Oh, definitely.
something
so.
happens?
I
Yes.
could get behind this if that's in place.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I
We
can write a
definitely
contract.
need something like, I mean, I hate
Know
to
somebody that can draw something up like
be a
that.
pain in
Yeah, I
the backside, but
Yeah, I have faith.
So we're talking about the registration for the actual function is about how much?
$960, but if they sign up for an annual membership, you get $40 off the bat. So we've asked them to do that.
So that's non-refundable. Once we pay, it's.
So that is the one that they can ask to have it be invoiced. So for example, when Colin and I attend the county attorney's conference, our office, as well as I think most of the other county attorneys, office, just have it invoiced. So that is invoiced then after the training is done.
Okay, so once it's invoiced and the county has paid for it, and they have a conflict of interest, they can't go. They would have to pay us back if we paid for it and they didn't go.
So the invoice should be for after they've attended the conference, to pay it after they've attended.
After they've attended.
Yes,
So there's no risk there.
correct.
We just have to tell them that the conference that they're coming.
Yes, yep.
So for plane reservations.
Yep.
Can they spend that extra $19 for the cancellation and get credit for it?
We
Because I do
would.
that all the time.
We would definitely encourage them to do that because they would personally be on the hook
Right.
for those funds.
So if they did their reservations for their air flight and they couldn't go, they wouldn't even be able to. You have to keep that ahead of time, and that's gonna be through your office.
Right. They
And if
would
they
cut,
decide they can't go, they're on the hook for that.
yep, they would cut the county a check.
And that would be in writing that they agree that if they cancel out, they're paying us back.
Yes.
Okay. Any other risk other than the event and this plane? No food will have been.
Right. The idea with the what was calculated for food is that they're collecting the usual reimbursements and
Paying that up front.
yeah, they would pay when they're there because hotels have continental breakfasts or
Right.
you know things like that. And I know where it is held, they also have food there or
Kind of like ISAC where.
right.
I got something. Whenever I travel for us, and I'm probably the only one on this table that flies much. I always make sure I get an airline ticket that's reimbursable.
Right.
Always. It's a couple bucks more. It's a safe way out.
Yes.
It's a safe way out. So that's how I travel, basically to protect our interest, our investment. And on hotels generally, I don't know what their block plan is, but generally still 72 hours ahead, you can cancel and there's no fee attached to that. So, and if there is, it's small enough where it wouldn't break the person that can't go all of a sudden, whatever reason, funeral, whatever. I mean, because that happens.
It does.
And then if you use the refundable airline, that kind of solves all them problems. The only one you got to worry about then is if it's a refund. And even NACO, up to a certain point, or if it's a medical emergency, will allow you a refund on it might cost you the money that was set aside to reserve the food or something like that. But it's usually a very small dollar amount, and that's when I travel on the national level stuff. And even like when I went to the International Economic Development Summit USA, all them same things for all that travel too. So it's part of your prep, and I'm sure you've traveled enough. You make sure that these people would get those types of. It's like I said, that airline ticket for a few bucks more. I mean, it ends up usually saving you all the check-in fees for check-in baggage, check baggage or whatever you want to say. Because usually anymore, you're paying for both of them, or you get a little bit higher, which you get the refundable plus you get check baggage, and it ends up being the same cost, with protection. So I mean, that to me, if you check, and they're doing it far enough out that the savings is there because the flight plan will be a little bit more, reduced cost. And with our prices for fuel right now, I actually got to do mine for the summer conference.
Yes, we made arrangements in early February for a victim in a trial traveling from Oklahoma, and we were able to get everything fully reimbursed once that trial settled. So yes, it's a pain, but it can definitely be done.
So do you know of anybody that's gone to these conferences in the past?
Yes, Judge Phillips has gone several times, and she's the one who's been highly encouraging all of us, but we're starting with just the 3. Hopefully next year.
And who are those 3?
Casey Schulte, Nate Deasy, and Tracy Delau. Again, nothing is set in stone, but once the board gave the green light, that's when I talked to them like, hey, start checking your schedules. Is this something you can and would be able to do? So there's a couple different people, myself included, that we would potentially look at next year, but yeah, my schedule does not work for this year.
So Nate, he could just run his through his budget, or is he going to do the same process as everybody else?
No, Juvenile Court Services is specifically not sending one. Last year, they sent a group of about 50 juvenile court officers, including supervisors, and they have said for this year, they're not sending anyone. So this would be on Nate personally, provided he can get the green light to go.
I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with it. Glad you guys stepped up and figured out a way to help.
It's a moving target for sure. But yes, like I said, if we're asking them to carry this amount, no one's gonna be able to go.
I think we've addressed any concerns that we would have.
Yep.
Ty, sound like our travel agent in place. Just run it through Ty. He'll book everything for you.
We'll get the written agreements with them in place first and
Yep.
copies of them.
And I have confidence that I think you can write a contract.
Yes, I am confident in that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if it ends up not working out for any of them, this is somewhat of a moot point, but at least we're giving it a try.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Martha.
Thanks, Martha.
Appreciate you doing this.
Oh, no problem.
Next item on the agenda is a resolution possibly dissolving the Crawford County Compensation Board. I requested to put that on the agenda after talking with some of you fellow board members, and it just seemed like it's something that certainly we have the ability to do, given what the state legislature has passed. They dissolved all of them. We chose to put ours back in place. And so I had Colin draw up, I said, in order to do it the right way, I had him draw up that resolution that I sent to everybody and sent to Terry and was it in the packet?
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet. That's what I thought it was. And so that's what we would be passing. I guess publicly, I'd like to say that since I've been on the board, this is only my first term and last year already of my first term. But the first compensation board that I met with, I did not understand where they came up with the numbers. I really didn't know where they came from. Since we've had Ted in charge, I thought that the thought process, the reasoning, the whys are very well thought out. I understand where they're coming from. My first year, I didn't understand at all where the numbers were coming from. I understand now where they get their numbers. But it just seems like, to me, that they don't take everything into consideration like we do when we set those. And
It's like AI, they only work on what data you feed them, right?
And I also think just from if I can say this right, publicity standpoint is they get out there first. They get their numbers out there first. And then that's the number that we have to kind of, I don't want to say argue against, but that's the kind that we have to debate on, defend perhaps more as to where we're at. And I think it'd be nice from a political standpoint that if we were out first, and I think we're very comfortable with our rationale as to we have to defend what the salaries are that we come up with. Rationally, I know each one of us spend a lot of time coming up with a number. And we're all around at the same number usually. So I don't think we have a problem proving it to whoever we need to prove it to. I'm still not sure who we have to prove it to. But what's that?
The taxpayer.
But I don't have a problem doing that. And so I just wanted to get everybody's thoughts. I mean, it's something we don't have to do, but if we're going to do it, that's why I had the resolution drawn up, just so if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So anybody else thoughts?
Quick thoughts towards that. The last 2 years, not the same person, but members of that board have come up to me after they met and said, we don't expect you to approve those numbers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and we sit there and research it to prove ourselves. So I don't.
Yeah.
Are we having a step in there that? This is my thought. When they come up to you and say it, it's
Yeah.
like,
You can't approve that. They set the numbers themselves. Like, why did you send that forward if you don't expect us to take it seriously? So, and we all went about our own way of figuring out the fair way based on, you can't just look at the population of another county, not knowing based on their valuations and the whole dynamics of that county. It's one county, you've seen one county. So I think that says it all.
To me, it is kind of a duplication of the process. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's on us to set those and have the reasoning and justification why, with everything considered. You see a number of counties, like I said, every county, one county is one county. There's a number of them who've gone away from it and done it themselves, and there's a few that have kept it. And it's whatever works for that county. But as for us, so that is kind of a duplication of the process. And I think we do a very diligent job of coming up with our numbers.
I don't know, I've always kind of liked how they bring the perspective of the different department heads. I mean, I'm not saying we wouldn't take that into consideration, but it's the third party non-biased, but it is kind of biased because their department heads talk to them. But I don't know, like to me, especially when we get good feedback, like they've, this year it was all of them. Well, we're here in the meeting. There was good feedback, and from that good feedback, we seen where they were missing some elements. On the overall appearance of things. I mean, they weren't taking anything into account on what we know is coming. I mean, we don't know for sure which one of those things are going to pass. But we know there's a hatchet heading our way, right? And I mean, so that to me was an element missing from their discussion that we probably took into account. So I'm fine either way. I mean, it doesn't, I'm not against, I mean, Ted always, I mean, the last 2 years, Ted's gave a great explanation, really, I mean, fabulous. And from, help me with his name, the sheriff's rep, he had some great talking points on it. You know? I mean, some of them we agreed with, some of them we probably didn't agree as much with. But, I mean, just, you know, good contribution. So I'm not against it, I'm not, but we do our work. You know, we explain our point, and, you know, I mean, obviously not everybody likes it, but I mean, we do our best, you know. So I mean, either way, it's fine. You know, you're right. We still put a lot more work into it, you know, look what you all did. Kyle always puts a lot of work into the budget, no matter what it.
I'll say I put a lot of work into it. I don't know how much they put, how much work everything, the compensation board put into it. So I'm not gonna say I put more work than they did in it. So
Yeah.
I know I put a lot.
You did put a lot.
And Gene's a researchaholic too, so I mean, and Dave you as well. So I mean, I think we'll give it our best. You know, try to anyway. That's the only guarantee I can really afford people is I'll do my best. Right. You know, otherwise I can't guarantee anything. There's 5 of us that got to argue through.
I mean, just, Lisa gets back to, I mean, we talk about local control. This is certainly one of those objects that, hey, the state is giving you the option.
I just don't ever want our department heads to feel like they don't have a voice. That's the only reason that I'm probably for it. I mean, they probably don't feel like they got a great voice on a year that they've asked for the numbers they did. And it comes down to where we are. You know, I mean, maybe they don't feel like that, but it did, you know, I will tell you that it did resonate in certain degrees with me. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have went clear up to 7,500 for Roger. You know, if it wasn't for some of the things that were said in here, and the same thing with the other departments too. I mean, because I was kind of this year stuck on a number that was around that 2.8, you know, and then I started to elevate from there. So, you know, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Any other thoughts?
I guess this is my thought, my first original thought is when they come up to us personally afterwards and say, well, my property taxes are too high, you can't afford them, or you guys need to do something. Anyway, there's no way as a taxpayer. That's why I was really hoping, I don't, here again, I'm speculating. I don't sit in that meetings because I don't want to be influencing them. I don't know what process really goes on there, so I'm not gonna speak on behalf of.
You know, I'd like to bring up something. This is the first year I think I ever remember my wife, when she said, what are you guys gonna do about property taxes this year? And she listens to the stuff, you know, sometimes I vent towards her, you know, she's my one conscience that I know is gotta basically she don't talk about what I talk to her about, just so I got somebody to bounce on. And she actually asked me, she says, what are you gonna do about these property taxes? She said, Ty, if we're on a fixed budget, and we have a decent budget, you know, we're not gonna keep this place. I said, well, dear, I don't know if you've thought about it, but as big as you've got your gardens and everything, you're gonna be able to keep this place anyway, just for the workload. However, she made a great point, and that's the first time she's ever asked me about that. Now, that ain't just about the, you know, keeping the compensation board, but I mean, it's the overall property tax. You know what I mean? And I told her, I said, well, you gotta remember, our board's pretty, I think we work hard to be responsible with our share of the property tax thing. You know, and then I reminded her that it's got more to do. I said, so maybe you should start showing up at school board meetings and on our behalf or something, and argue the property tax use and stuff, and even at City Hall. You know, but I think all the different entities are trying to spend wisely. It's just, you got to look at what inflation's did this last 5 years that I've been on the board. I mean, we've had some serious inflationary increase, whether COVID caused it or whatever you want to blame it on. I mean, we've had some serious increases. So it looks exponentially worse than I think it would have been under normal conditions. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm fine either way, whatever the board would like to do. I think that we can handle it. But, I just want to make sure that, that we're always, because it ain't just these 5 people we're worried about. I mean, our 5 people in 10 years or 15 years still gonna consider our department heads as much as what the compensation board does. That's the thing I want to worry about. You know what I mean?
Guess it kind of depends on the process that each board uses moving forward, how involved they have the department heads in that process. If they sit down with each one of them,
It's in my mind, will they or won't they? I don't know.
chairman of the board sit down with each department head and say, where are you at? Here's what we're thinking.
And future boards to bring it back.
Future boards can bring it back.
Future boards can bring it back, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's right too, Dave. Great point. I don't like we get rid of it forever. You're good point.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? If not, I guess I'd entertain a motion if that's the will of the board. If not, we'll not do anything.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-16 is on the Crawford County Compensation Board.
Motion by Dave,
I'll second that.
second by Gene. Any further discussion?
I think I beat it up for her.
Okay, now we'll have a roll call by resolution. Dave?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
Ty?
Aye.
Kyle?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Move on to citizen input. There's nobody here in person. Anybody in Zoom land? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I just wanted to,
Adjourn.
just quick here, I mean, that EMS Advisory Council brought us some names.
Yeah,
Does anybody have any, has anybody been thinking of names? I've been trying to
Like I said, I'm
contact.
trying to stay out of it, so I don't look like I'm
Right.
picking people for my benefit.
Well, in our email from John, and I showed Craig, Aaron and Jacob to be 2 members.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Independent thinkers for our 2. I mean, good independent thinkers that aren't really involved. EMS is the hospital or EMS is the fire service.
Well, those are the kind of the approach I was looking, just,
Good professionals, sir.
like Sarah Delaney was a name that popped into my
Who's
head. Sarah Delaney.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a name, no contact's been made with,
That's a
or,
good choice.
somebody that's of that,
Kyle, I kind of thought.
never been involved with. There's another good one,
Travis Beck.
oh,
So, I think we need to.
Maybe we want to think about it all day, contact the people and bring a name
I
tonight.
did reach out to Travis,
Okay.
but he was out of the office last week, so I'll reach out to him.
I mean, so if anybody, I guess, has someone on their mind, if they want to reach out to them throughout the day and maybe bring the names tonight to our, that we can give it to me. So we can put them on the agenda for next week to be approved.
Yep.
So no, we all know people that, are not involved politically, that we don't even know where they stand politically, but they're good thinkers. They think things through and they run their own business. They've, have challenges that they know that they've overcome.
You kind of need somebody that's on the side of the property taxpayer.
That's what I'm looking for, somebody
it has some.
that has probably no ties to either side really, but if they can be sold on this project, it's gonna be a lot easier to sell it to the general.
If it's sellable.
Yeah.
So once again, I want to be,
Critical
how
thing.
many people?
6.
6.
2 and 2.
I'm the chair / tie breaking vote if they have a tie.
Because it still has to come to us then. So if that 6 comes to us and say, we've all agreed to this, please put it on the ballot. Or they're gonna come and say, you know what, we're at a stalemate here. You know, that's why I thought they have to agree on it. It can't be just the majority rule. I think it's gonna be
some consensus.
there's have to be some consensus drawn up here.
That's why I don't think I'll vote. Those I would. I think, like Aaron brought up, her and I talked about, leadership's gonna matter in this. When the hospital reps go back to them and say, listen, this is what we're working on, what do you think? You know, they can give any modification if there is, but they gotta remember, there's gonna be give and take in this between the two entities that support both sides, because they're not reaching agreements on everything in their meetings to begin with. You know, I mean, that's where they gotta be able to, both sides grow. I think that's what we're after.
Their focus is their goal, I think, is the same.
I do too. I really do, when I see it.
They just need to get to it.
Yeah, I agree, Kyle, 100%. I think they're after a good, the best, you know, and I'm just gonna keep that one to them. You know, we're after the example for the state of Iowa. I mean, every EMS is an issue across the entire country. When we're doing our economic development for the Ag Committee, it's always talked about, always. So this isn't just exclusive to Crawford County. EMS is a nationwide issue. And I would love to see our people put together the system that actually is an example for everybody to look at. You know, this works great for them. You know, what can we do to help our, and everybody's still different. I mean, when you're dealing with people that got a 2-hour deployment just to get an ambulance to somebody out west, you know, I mean, there's going to be challenges that they have different, but if they can see how to get together and create the system that works and how we got there, that might be a good thing.
I mean, it makes you kind of wonder, you know, Zach mentioned that he applied from HHS for a portion of his salary. So the federal government has identified this as a problem and this is a need out there in our communities of having someone to prepare these communities for emergencies. And so once they, in typical federal government fashion, what will happen is in 10 years, when they see that, my goodness, we've increased the number of emergency management people from this number now to this number, now you all got to pay for it on your own. That, you know, and maybe that was just the initial thought process of the federal government program was, hey, these communities aren't going to do this on their own. We need to give them an incentive to do it. And then once they do it, now it's now, but now it's back on the taxpayer, on the property taxpayer of those counties.
I think it's important, though, that we remind them that, you know, Leon County or whatever, some of them are 4,000 people.
Right.
They can't afford it. If we take that away, you're really screwing them. They're done, you know. So I think that's why it's important we always have our message up in Washington and, you know. Yeah, great point.
Any other things to come before the board? Now I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that.
Motion by Ty, second by Gene. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We stand adjourned. Reminder, public hearing tonight, 5:30, same location. See you tonight.